chocolates too.
You never know what you're going to get. Yeah,
I didn't know that was Ace of Base, actually.
That is it. That was the plan. You see, you were a little bit cross this morning.
Well, do you want me to tell you why?
No, please don't tell me why. No, do not tell. I do not want to cause trouble.
Huh?
But you left yourself.
There must have been a hurricane came through the studio yesterday because the place was in an absolute mess. Chairs hanging off the walls, microphones up in the air.
I told you he was crossed now. God help anybody. You're interviewed.
Signs bent.
All right.
Sideways.
Do you feel better now?
Yeah.
Breathe now, in through the nose, out the mouth.
Thanks, Lee.
It's good to get that out of your system.
I feel better now, thank you.
Yeah, I'm just preparing any of your guests. Yeah. But you left it late to come into studio this morning too?
No, because I did everything already organised.
Right.
Anyway, it's all sorted now. The place is looking lovely.
Would you like a wee cup of tea now to calm you down?
Coffee?
Make it yourself.
All right, then. See you tomorrow, Friday. Wow, another Friday. Hard to believe. The last one of August, isn't it? Or maybe it isn't. I don't know. Okay, it's just after 9. Let's get a news update from Donna Marie Doherty before we get the show underway. Good morning to you. Well, I don't know what's going on here. Are you speaking, Donna Marie? What about now?
Thanks, Greg. Good morning.
Go ahead.
A Donegal animal charity has condemned some of the reasons why people decide to give up their pets. The group took to social media saying while some cases cannot be helped and are heartbreaking, others are beyond reason. Donegal Animals in Need then shared the story of a dog recently surrendered because his previous owner wanted his teeth removed to stop him from biting tyres. After a vet refused the procedure, the woman handed the dog over to the care of the organisation. Making the 9% VAT rate for the hospitality sector a permanent measure is crucial to saving 300,000 jobs across Ireland. That's the warning from business group IBEC as the tax is due to rise again to 13.5% next week. The government's ruled out keeping the lower 9% rate, which has already been extended 3 times, but IBEC say many businesses will be unable to shoulder the increase. Spokesperson Sharon Higgins says competitiveness, jobs and entire businesses are on the line.
These are very often low-margin businesses right around the country. Remember, they operate in every town and village in Ireland, so are critical to that infrastructure that we have. They will do their best to be competitive, but there comes a point where that just isn't sustainable. So I think it could have significant repercussions for many companies that are already finding it very difficult.
It's been a gloomy month for consumer sentiment. The latest credit union tax index shows the mood had dropped in August for the first time in 5 months to 62.2%. Rising interest rates, inflation and job layoffs are being blamed. However, economist Austin Hughes says people are still spending money, but they're not enjoying it.
Consumer sentiment, while it did weaken, it's not a collapse. Their willingness to spend improved slightly. Now, that's probably due to bargain hunting in the summer sales, getting kids ready for school. So it's not a case that consumers are out spending freely, but there's a sense that they still have to spend, and many are reasonably able.
A Midlands Northwest MEP believes energy prices will continue to rise if action is not taken to see the development of offshore wind farms. According to the Household Energy Price Index, Irish consumers are paying €900 more per year compared with the EU average. MEP Colin Markey says a lack of competition is a contributing factor to this, and that an indigenous energy source will mean better value for consumers.
It has the potential to deliver more than the electricity you need for the country, substantially more, but it won't happen unless we get the basic ingredients right, and that is proper grid infrastructure, which needs a major investment, the regulatory framework, which there's been a good lot of work done on, but I think still needs a bit more, and I suppose if you like the port infrastructure to develop out all these wind farms. We've been talking about it, we really need to get on with it at this stage. I think aspiration, if you like, is one thing, but it's cold, hard, practical delivery is what we want.
Looking now to weather, long spells of sunshine today with scattered showers. That's with top temperatures of 16 to 18 degrees in moderate to fresh westerly breezes. That's all for now. The next news update's at 10 o'clock. Until then, good morning.
Looking for an exciting and diverse career? One that's challenging and rewarding? Then look no further than retail. SuperValue offer a range of job opportunities from fresh food specialists to store management. We provide excellent learning and development, enabling you to reach your full potential in SuperValue. Check out supervalue.ie/careers to find out more and apply.
The county's #1 talk show, The 9 till Noon Show on Highland Radio. And now, it's time for the talk of the Northwest. The 9 to Noon Show with Greg Hughes on Highland Radio.
Hello, good morning to you. 5 minutes past 9, Thursday, the 24th of August, 2023. And you're welcome along to another edition of the 9 till Noon Show. How are you all? It's a bright, breezy, chilly enough morning across the Northwest here. I hope it's pleasant wherever you are and you're able to enjoy it. Anyway, you're going to stick with us here, whatever you're doing for the next 3 hours, aren't you? Whether you're in the car, at home, at work, wherever you might be. 086 60 25,000, that's the WhatsApp or text number if you want to get involved in the conversation, or if you think there's anything we can platform for you or help you with, or some good news or an act of kindness or anything like that that you wish to pass on. And don't forget, we're more than happy to receive your requests and dedications as well. If you want to give us a call, it's 07491 25,000, 07491 25,000, and emails from wherever you're listening from, comments at highlandradio.com. And if you want to hop on and watch the show, YouTube, Highland Radio Ireland is our URL there. You can watch across your devices, and on Facebook, Highland Hub, Highland Radio News and Sport, and on it goes. Okay, it's a Thursday, bumper morning for newspapers. Not an awful lot in the nationals in terms of variety, but we'll start with the locals. And the Tyrconnell Tribune tells us that proposals by Donegal County Council and the Office of Public Works to construct a 5 feet high wall on some of Ramelton's best known locations will destroy the Georgian character of the town. That's according to a number of community representatives. The new wall is part of the flood mitigation programme on the Shore Road, the quay and locations around the community centre. The main part of the flood mitigation project involves the 300 metre length of the already heavily congested Shore Road. The new wall will be on the Shore Road side of the existing seawall, but much higher in height. It is set to dwarf the original wall that is part of the town's Georgian legacy. Now, quite helpfully, there is a graphic on the front of the paper which shows what the existing wall is at, the height, the proposed new wall, and then a car, so you can get some indication as to how it might look. Much more on that, and plenty more too, on the front of and inside today's Tyrconnell Tribune. The Donegal Democrat this morning: staff at a creche in Letterkenny are fearful that walls of their facility could crumble. Walls and floors of the Letterkenny Community Childcare Centre building at Lisnenan are showing visible cracks due to the presence of defective concrete. And we were speaking to, I believe, reps from that childcare centre a couple of months ago, and they were talking about the pressures faced in the sector. And then on top of that, a building affected by defective concrete. Well, the facility caters for 190 children and employs 28 staff with over 400 children on a waiting list. The waiting list includes the names of 115 babies whose families are looking for places between now and September 2024. You can hear the cracking, and it's so scary. Geraldine Burke, the centre manager, told Donegal Live, "You just think all the time, what next?" The Donegal News this morning tells us that concerns over the flight path for emergency helicopters accessing Letterkenny University Hospital may necessitate changes to the €15 million development plans for the new Errigal College School buildings. Donegal County Council planners have sought further information from the Donegal Education and Training Board architects, requesting they ensure confirmation from both the hospital and any helicopter operator using the hospital's helipad that they are satisfied with any proposed changes to current arrangements. But CEO of the county's ETB, Anne McHugh, is confident the proposed plans will be able to go ahead. The Derry News this morning: in the first 6 months of this year, William Street has seen more reports of violent crimes and sexual offences than any other street in Derry, according to official police data. In the first 6 months of 2023, a total of 2,367 reports of violent crimes or sexual offences were made to the PSNI. Violence and sexual offences are the most commonly reported crimes in Derry. A total of 397 instances were reported in County Derry in June alone, according to data from Police UK. William Street is where you're most likely to be the victim of a violent crime. So figures are higher than one might have guessed before you knew them. I just want to say a massive congratulations to everybody out there right across Donegal, because your behaviour has changed significantly. Because this is fantastic news, isn't it? If I'm reading this story correctly, not one single Not one single fine has been issued across Donegal for dog fouling in the last year. So congratulations. Obviously, there isn't a problem with dog fouling. Everyone's listening to the concerns and the advice, and the dog wardens and the council and whoever's responsible have been unable to find any instances of dog fouling that were punishable by a fine. So congratulations to all. There were just 82 dog fouling fines handed out by local authorities across Ireland last year. 18 councils issued no fines at all, while Kerry County Council had the highest number with 27. In a recent survey, the National Council for the Blind of Ireland found that dog fouling is a major issue for blind or visually impaired people when using footpaths. People illegally parking on footpaths was the biggest obstacle, with some people suffering broken ankles and sprained wrists as a result of trying to walk around vehicles. And we talked about this earlier in the week, of course. In relation to that, in terms of fines issued for parking on footpaths, Donegal actually is really quite proactive in that regard. 389 fines were issued, none in Leitrim, 79 in Sligo, 175 in Mayo, Roscommon 0, and on it goes. But 389 fines issued for parking on footpaths in Donegal. But in relation to dog fouling, and the reason it remains to be such a problem is it's clear that the minority of dog owners who aren't the responsible ones have no fear of being caught, and they certainly don't mind being challenged, because if they are, often they'll give some nice language back in the other direction. The Irish Times this morning: 2 more naval service ships are being withdrawn from active service due to crew shortages, leaving just 2 vessels to patrol the 437,000 square kilometres of Irish waters. Have you a view on this? 086 60 25,000. I'm glad we're talking about this honestly now, because in the past, when we were covering this story 4, 5, 6 years ago, they would tie these boats up for servicing, really, rather than saying that they were being tied up because there was no staff. This has been an ongoing problem. I spoke to people high up in the Navy, as I say, 4, 5, 6 years ago. They talked about recruitment and retention and where we were going if something wasn't done. Well, nothing seemingly was done, or not enough was done, and here we are now. The Irish Times has learned the Ellie James Joyce and the Ellie George Bernard Shaw are being placed in reserve, with their crews used to help man the naval service's 2 remaining active vessels, Ellie William Butler Yates and the Ellie Samuel Beckett. The move means Ireland will have fewer ships available to patrol than at any point since the 1970s, and will likely raise concerns at national and European Union level about the country's inability to ensure maritime security, enforce fishery rules and protect infrastructure. And if we know it, those in the fishing industry who fish our waters, they know it too. And it potentially could be a free-for-all. So if I were in the fishing industry, I'd be very concerned about that as well. On to the Irish Daily Mail this morning. Petrol stations warn that reintroducing excise duties at the pumps will add €10 to the cost of a full tank and send motorists across the border. And garage owners along the border say the move will cost thousands of jobs and decimate hundreds of businesses. I mean, are you a business in Donegal selling petrol and diesel with concerns that people will cross the border? I mean, by the time you consider cheaper alcohol, cheaper petrol and diesel, though it's fully illegal, the availability of different types of solid fuels, there has to be a cost to business in Donegal off the back of all of those things. Well, the government cut the taxes in March last year as the war in Ukraine sent fuel prices soaring. Petrol prices were cut by 21 cent per litre and diesel by 16 cent per litre in March last year to ease the burden on rocketing fuel prices that had topped €2. And both diesel and petrol quickly dropped below the €2 mark. However, the duties being reintroduced over a 5-month period to the end of October. So the first increase of 6 cent per litre for petrol and 5 cent per litre for diesel came in June, and further increases of 7 cent per litre for petrol and 5 cent for diesel is due on September 1st, and then October 31st, the date for the final increase of 8 cent on a litre of petrol and 6 on diesel. And we will not be, judging by the way trends are going, we will not be far away from €2 a litre again, will we? Cost of home heating all too. Some people getting an awful touch on that at the moment, or anyone who has to buy it, it's edged up again. The Farmers Journal, the Irish Farmers Journal, that is. Optimism is growing for autumn weanling sales following 2 vibrant special sales held in Ennis, County Clare and Goat Marts over the last week. An entry of over 600 weanling bulls and heifers in Ennis recorded average prices ranging from €3 a kilogram to $3.20 a kilogram for weanling bulls weighing from 250 kilograms to 500. This leaves the typical 350 kilogram bull weanling selling for €1,200. So positive vibes as we head into autumn. On to the Irish Daily Mirror now, and working shifts in middle age could impair memory and brain function. Those on night or rotational shifts are worse affected, say scientists. So that's the continental shifts and other types of shifts that we see here across the region. Night shift staff had higher rates of cognitive impairment, such as memory impairment. Rotating shift patterns were linked to changes in mental processes. A Dr. Dudana Khan from York University in Canada said more studies were needed, but she added the findings suggest a potential link between shift work and cognitive function impairment. I don't have the star here, but sure, look, it will be grand. Finally, in the Sun today, and I just thought this was kind of interesting because it really, in a very stark way, shows us how people have changed their viewing habits and what they watch. And what would you say the peak viewership for the likes of Coronation Street, EastEnders and Emmerdale were? Well, Coronation Street used to regularly pull in 21 million viewers in Britain, EastEnders 30 million and Emmerdale 18 million viewers. Well, now Emmerdale only has 4 million viewers, but that's nothing compared to EastEnders collapse. They're down to 2 million viewers and Coronation Street down to 4 million viewers. And these shows are incredibly expensive to put on and run. And the report says that some of telly's favourite soap stars face the axe in a huge cost-cutting drive as audiences dwindle. Insiders said that €235,000 a year plus pay packets of leading performers on Coronation Street, Emmerdale and EastEnders meant they were all in the firing line. One source told us how EastEnders bosses were even considering a massacre of their stars with an epic end-of-life finale. The pressure to make cuts comes as ratings across the big three fall and wage bills spiral. And the storylines are a bit naff, aren't they? Really. And I think, you know, when they try and tackle a social issue, and maybe it's good in terms of getting information out there, but, you know, they just hit on every obvious point, you know, and they obviously do it in conjunction with organisations that work with people who are genuinely affected by these things. But the only problem is from an audience perspective, it just feels like you're being spoon-fed something, doesn't it? But anyway, we'll see. No point asking, do you still watch the soaps? Because the majority of you who used to don't anymore. Okay, 086 60 25,000 WhatsApps and texts to that number, please.
Our courtesy of Kelly Centra Mountaintop Letterkenny, the 2022 C-Store National Off-Licence of the Year. It's the 9 till noon show in association with the Northwest Truck Fest this Saturday and Sunday at Milford Mart with live music, family fun, a truck convoy and much more.
Are you tired of the gym? Get stronger in just 20 minutes per week with Fit20. Train once a week with a personal trainer in a climate-controlled gym. The surroundings are quiet and peaceful and the machines are spotless. We guarantee measurable results within 3 months or your money back. So what are you waiting for? Try Fit20 today. Visit fit20.ie to book your free session.
Have I got news for you? The Harvey's Point Cabaret is back. Every Wednesday in September and October, Eamon has gathered a galaxy of stars to captivate and entertain. A scrumptious dinner, fabulous entertainment, or a 2-night accommodation package. Harvey's Point Cabaret 074 972 2208 for an immediate reservation or harveyspoint.com.
It's the big brand sale at Super Value, and there's great special offers like Nescafe Gold Blend Jar 100 gram and Meridian Peanut Butter for 70 gram, any 3 for €9, exclusive to Real Rewards members only, and money off vouchers every week on the app. So don't miss our big brand sale and pop in store or online for great savings at Super Value.
It's the Right Price Tiles and Wood Flooring 70% off sale. Get up to 70% off on all your purchases. Up to 70% off all tiles, all wood flooring, all bathware. everything's reduced in-store. The 70% off sale at Right Price Tiles and Wood Flooring. Stores nationwide. Sale now on.
Where's the party? Bundoran presents Ireland's biggest indoor dancing festival, the World Matchmaking Festival, in 4 venues for 10 days, 10 nights, September 29th to October 8th. Starring 35 bands, including the Tumbling Paddies, Derek Ryan, David James, Declan Nerney, plus blind date and speed dating. Book now for accommodation and entertainment package deals. Log on to showtours.ie or call 0818 300 888. Meet your match in Bundoran. Very special guest from Lisdoonvarna, the world famous matchmaker Willie Daly.
Highland Radio time checks with Expressway. Travel Route 32 from Letterkenny to Dublin when you book online and travel for less. Expressway, bringing you the time at
21, just turning 21 minutes past 9. Now, as we read on the front of the Finn Valley Voice yesterday, a mum has gone public with a view to improving the safety of getting around Ballybofey, and we wanted to invite Siobhan on to see if our involvement could help progress her campaign as well. Siobhan, good morning to you. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, Greg. Thanks for letting me share my story with your listeners.
No, it's very, very important. Right, Siobhan, tell us what your situation is and that of your family and the problems that you encounter.
So I'm a mum to 2 young disabled adults. I've got a daughter who has a severe learning disability and a son who's profoundly disabled, and he uses a power wheelchair. And we live in Capri, Ballybofey, on the Glenfin Road. It's near the Blue Cedars estate, and it's about, to locate people, it's about a mile from Jackson's Hotel. But what should be an everyday stroll to and from town and Drumbo Woods for us is dangerous because we're forced to detour onto a busy road with fast-moving traffic with the power wheelchair. So the situation is that the curb is dropped on one side of the junction at Blue Cedars, but there's a high curb on the other side and no way back onto the pavement on the other side. So we have to walk along a busy road for about 200 metres. My heart's in my mouth for the whole stretch, facing fast oncoming traffic on a bend in the road. And it's even worse on the return from town or from Drumbo Woods because our backs are to the traffic. So then I've no way of viewing it then. So it's a real health and safety issue and an accident waiting to happen. And my frustration, Greg, is that it shouldn't take an injury or death to get action. We've had a few near misses, which are frightening both for us and also for the poor drivers who come round the bend. And
I presume too, there's some drivers. I presume there's some drivers too who maybe aren't fully aware of what's going on that blow the horns at you as well. Is there?
They would think, why wouldn't we be on the pavement?
Yeah,
but
exactly.
With no alternative. And we did get Councillor Martin Harley to come out, and he visited the junction about more than 2 years ago and viewed the problem, and he was really sympathetic and agreed it was an issue. But unfortunately, I'm still in the same situation and nothing's been done by the council to remedy it.
Yeah, is there any obvious reason why there's a drop on the curve on one side of the road but not the other?
My own take on it is it's just an omission. It's a very high curb on one side and it's been missed. And most people maybe wouldn't notice it, but anybody with mobility issues would certainly notice it because there's just no way that you can get back up onto the pavement, so you have to walk along the road then. And we did leave a note. There was a note left on the council engineer's desk in Stranraer about the matter about 6 months ago, but still no results. So very frustrating.
So
we love walking into the Twin Towns and Drumbo Woods, so the pavement should be accessible for everybody in the community to use safely.
Yeah, for sure, of course, Siobhan. Now, is it if the curve was dropped on the opposite side, does that go far enough? Is it a safe enough crossing if you've got access at that point on the opposite side of the road?
Yes, it would. Okay. That would entirely.
So you're not looking for
so
zebra crossings, pelican crossings. It's literally just a drop on the curb on the other side of the road, so you can cross in a straight line. Effectively, that's all you're calling for. It's not.
Yes, just a single drop curb. It would be very easy for the council to fix, but make a huge difference to
Yeah.
A huge difference to us and other people with mobility problems.
Yeah, and it's funny because there's been a theme this week in various items about inclusivity, and I think it's a very fine point that you make, that unless you were a wheelchair user or accompanying a wheelchair user, this is just of no consequence to you at all. You wouldn't even know the difference. But as soon as you have to cross a road and you want to be able to do it safely, then it's obvious that this is a major omission.
It is quite a high curb there. So as you say, Greg, most people wouldn't notice it. But I think we've got an increasingly elderly population and it's quite a high curb. So if you were using a stick or crutches, you would also find it quite difficult to get up again at that point.
Yeah, and these chairs can be very heavy as well, of course, especially the motorised ones. So there's no option to sort of, lift the front up and then the back as such. You know what I mean? That's not an option. These can be really quite heavy chairs as well.
Yes, my son uses a power wheelchair, so there's no way that we could lift it at all. And even somebody with a manual wheelchair, not everybody's accompanied by a carer.
Of course.
Lots of wheelchair users are very independent, but you'd have to do be quite athletic and doing a wheelie to get up in a wheelchair that you're carrying on your own.
And anyone whose mobility is reduced would struggle to cross here as well with the high curve on the far side of the road. It's not just wheelchair users, as you quite rightly pointed out. It could be someone who's just not as able to move around as they once might have been able to.
That's right, yes. Just somebody who's just not as nimble to be able to lift their leg up high, or maybe uses a stick. Yes, it would be challenging. Yeah.
Okay, Siobhan, you're not looking for the sun, the moon and the stars here. You're just looking for a slight adjustment to make so that you can go out and enjoy the fresh air in peace and not feel like you're taking your life in your hands every time you just want to go and visit a local amenity. I mean, it's not much to ask, Siobhan, and I hope that your calls are heard today.
That would be great. I mean, it would just make such a big difference to us and other people with mobility problems to be able to access the community safely the way everybody else can.
Yep, just so that everyone's treated equally. Siobhan, thank you very much indeed. I really do appreciate it, and best wishes to you and the family.
Lovely. Thank you very much,
take care.
Greg.
Goodbye. That is Siobhan there, Siobhan Lund. She's a dentist that lives at Capri on the same side of the road as Blue Cedars with her husband, Ian. And for them to access the local amenities, as you've just been hearing there, or to go into town, there is a drop curve on one side of the road, but there isn't a drop on the other side. So they have to go down that one side and then go about 200 metres up the main road on the roadway to access the drop curve on the other side. Okay, that makes no sense at all, does it? 086 60 25 000 if you want to lend your voice to that issue. Caller says, was listening to the person who's offended by pride flags. I don't get offended, but I thought we're all equal, just people who are white or black, gay or straight, Christian or whatever religion. We are not. But people are or not. But people who want to go out marching do not want to be just old ordinary Joe Soaps. Why don't they just want to get on with life and stop wanting to be so different? Well, you see, I presume that they feel that they are not treated equally. Greg, the pride flags in Letterkenny are adding to the litter. The flag should only be there for that event, says another listener. Greg, reparking in Buncrana, if the system is losing money, then scrap it like any other business would do. But I mean, they're losing 15 grand a year. That's how much they're short. And I think I said in a conversation with Councillor Nicholas Crossan last week, it's 15,000. Like if one business failed because of getting rid of the half-hour free parking, it's going to cost a great deal more to them than 15,000 to the local authority. Greg, parking in Buncrana, for God's sake, it's only 50 cent an hour. Do people not have less change in the cars? That comes in from Aaron in Buncrana. We don't even have public toilets in Letterkenny in 2023. In the 70s, we had public toilets at Market Square. Right, I'm going to take a very quick break and then we're on to our next guest.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook and at highlandradio.com.
The 9 till noon show brought to you by the Northwest Truck Fest, taking place this Saturday and Sunday in the grounds of Milford Mart, with proceeds to Donegal Down Syndrome.
With the largest selection of pre-owned vehicles in the Northwest, check out imotors.ie. We have it all. Starter cars, family cars, and even a bit of luxury, all available to drive away. All cars come serviced and with warranty. Check out imotors.ie.
Imagine a dream wedding on a lake, all-day casual dining by a magical shore, fine dining or glorious afternoon tea surrounded by beautiful mountains, or a fabulous bar filled with music, laughter and song. Imagine no more. Harvey's Point, Loch Esk, Donegal, 07497222208 or harveyspoint.com. Close by, but a different world.
Discover Cooney's Home Interiors, where your dream space comes to life. See it, love it, own it. Our suites, tables, beds and accessories are all ready to impress. With fast delivery to your door, your perfect home is just a visit away. Cooney's Home Interiors, your style, your way.
When it's time for a new car, it's time for a Volkswagen. Our unbeatable August offers across our wide range of petrol, diesel and all-electric models make it easy to choose the right Volkswagen for you and your lifestyle. Choose from our ever-popular Taigo, T-Roc and T-Cross SUVs or our best-selling all-electric ID range. Available now for immediate delivery in August, so there's no time to lose. Discover our full range and our unbeatable offers today at Volkswagen.ie. Volkswagen. Best-selling claim based on latest published figures.
Do you have your ticket yet?
€2,500 every Friday.
Plus a chance to win big.
10,000 cash money.
Get your ticket today. Go to HighlandRadio.com.
Summer's just got better.
Okay, you're welcome back to the programme. We welcome onto the show Pauline Duddy. Pauline, thanks for taking the call this morning.
Yeah.
It's nice to speak to you, and our condolences on the loss of your daughter, Jasmine, just 21 years of age. She passed away in February, so obviously incredibly raw for you. Pauline, how are you keeping yourself?
Not coping. It's so... She's took my heart with her.
Must be incredibly difficult for you, Pauline.
Yeah, they're the family.
Indeed. What was the circumstances of Jasmine's passing, Pauline?
She left here on the 1st of February and she was in great form. She was off all the tablets. She was attending Woodley House out at Grantshan. They were amazing, trying to help her. She left here in great form. She phoned me about 3:30 in the afternoon, and I knew by the sound of her voice that she had something on her. And the phone call ended, and I texted her about 6 o'clock because I kept going through my head. What has she, has she drank or has she drugs on her? So I texted her and I said, Jasmine, go on, please sober up. And she texted me back, I'm trying, Mommy. That night, I fell asleep on the sofa. And at 4 o'clock in the morning, the police knocked the door and asked her to come in. And told me that she was found deceased in a house in Galia.
And she had become addicted to prescription drugs, is that correct?
I never ever knew that she was on prescription drugs until about 4 weeks before she died, when she started going to Woodley House, and she asked me to come in the appointment with her, and she opened up and says everything.
And I suppose
she was in sorry.
No, go ahead, Pauline. Go ahead. Sorry, I thought you were finished.
She was in Asha 2 years ago, but that was for the only thing she was taking was cannabis, and she wanted to get off cannabis, and she done the program in Asha Rehabilitation Centre, and came out, and she was amazing for about 6 or 7 months. But then I knew she was back on the cannabis, but I had no inkling that she was on tablets.
But it was an addiction she was fighting. As you said, she knew herself that she wanted to get off cannabis and whatever other drugs or medication she was taking. And she was trying clearly to be fully clean and to turn her life around, Pauline.
Yes, absolutely. She didn't want to be on drugs.
Now, the awful loss that you've had with Jasmine really recently, another 3 families are going through that because, and I would thought this should be national news all over the place. 3 drug-related deaths in the Northwest in a short period of time earlier this month. This whole drug problem, it's an awful scourge, isn't it, on a community, and it's wreaking havoc in families right across the Northwest and the country.
Yeah. First of all, I feel for the families that have just lost their siblings. I know exactly what they feel. The drug problem is horrendous. It's under people. People can see it happening in the town centre. They're handing it out like sweeties. And I mean, people needs to make a stand. They stop it. There's young people dying everywhere. There's people going on with cardiac arrest. Was it? I mean, where does it end?
And Pauline, obviously, in Jasmine's attempt to rid herself of that, when it's so available and being supplied so openly, and who is to say to get her back buying, she wasn't given stuff for free. I mean, it makes it very difficult for someone who wants to break free because it's everywhere.
Absolutely. And I mean, these young, vulnerable people, and Jasmine was young and vulnerable, fall in the circle. And there's people giving it for free just so that the next time that these young people pay for it.
You received the post-mortem examination results just a few weeks back. It was revealed that Jasmine had pregabalin in her system. Was that the first time you'd come across that drug or knew she'd been taking it, or what do we know about pregabalin?
I have never, ever heard of pregabalin in my life before until I got the information of the post-mortem. And I read up on it, and this drug is fatal. It's going to kill people.
Now, you're calling for the judiciary to get tough on the sale and supply of drugs. As you say, you know, you can go and see it being done publicly, and it's not something exclusive to Derry either. You know, you'll hear similar reports in towns in Donegal, Dublin, Cork, right across the country. But you believe that the sanctions for being found dealing or in possession of drugs just aren't strong enough?
No, they're not. I mean, dealers is going in doing a few months inside. They're coming back out and they're reoffending straight away because it's easy money. They're lining their pockets on young people. And it's happening everywhere. It's not just happening in Derry, it's happening everywhere. It's just Derry's got highlighted at the minute because there's so many deaths. But it's happening absolutely everywhere, and people knows it's happening everywhere. And these drug dealers need to be put away for a long, long time, and then give them time to think. If they're in for 10, 20 years, when they've time to think, oh, what am I going to do with my life when I come out? Because if they think they're going to do another 10 or 20 year stretch, maybe it'll deter them when they get out.
And of course, too, you know, we need to tackle where these drugs are coming from, how they're being moved around the place. What, you know, how are they getting into our towns, villages, and our communities as well? Because, you know, there's someone who's not on the street that's making an absolute fortune off the back of our young people.
Yeah, but that's it. I mean, the dealers in the street, there's higher people up than them that's bringing them in and passing them on to younger people to sell. I mean, I've read up on this, and I know I've watched the series Netflix.
Yeah.
And there's higher people up that's given the word strap to younger people, which is leaving them in debt, and then saying, will you sell to pay off your debt? You know, but I mean, there has to be more help for young people, and the higher people, the drug dealers themselves, they need locked up. It has to stop somewhere. There's weans getting killed in every city.
And Pauline, is there a problem here in terms of how the police, the Gardaí or society views the deaths of people at the hands of drugs? In other words, if there were, and it happens, if there were a spate of young people dying, God forbid, in car crashes or in drowning instances, there would be an organised response to it. We've seen, violence in the capital city in the Republic, and all the resources in the world are being thrown to deal with that so people can feel safe. But then when there seems to be a hierarchy of death, if you get where I'm coming from. I mean, do you feel that your daughter Jasmine's death is almost being forgotten or brushed under the carpet or not being treated as serious as it should be because drugs were involved?
Absolutely. I mean, the CID I have no faith in them. There is no family liaison officers for drug-related deaths with a PSNI. I'm not sure about the Gardaí, but the PSNI has no family liaison officers for the families that's left behind to tell them what's going on. They don't seem, in my opinion, they don't seem bothered about a drug-related death. I mean, I actually had to speak out with the CID and fight for them to look under this further.
Because your daughter is a victim. That's how you feel, I'm sure, Jasmine, but it seems the judiciary judges her as, it's her fault or something. That's the only kind of way you could come to conclude the way these deaths are being treated, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I know people, there's some people thinking, well, if she hadn't took the tablet, she wouldn't have died. But my stance on it, you see, if she hadn't been supplied the tablet, she wouldn't have had the tablet to take.
And she was trying to turn her life around. She didn't want to be addicted, but because of the prevalence of drugs, how widely available they are, it made that very difficult for her.
Yeah, I mean, as I say, it's getting handed out like sweeties. I mean, it's too easy to get a hold of, and I mean, it's unreal that there's so many people turning a blind eye to it. It's a big problem everywhere.
And just to reiterate, the reason you're speaking publicly is you are saying something has to be done, and one of those things that could be done is to hand down more stiffer sentences for those found or those convicted of dealing drugs.
Yes, I started a petition to stop the street drugs. I wanted the judiciary system changed. The drug dealers is done with murder, prosecuted with murder, because that's exactly what they're doing. They're murdering our young people.
Okay, Pauline, listen, thank you for speaking to us again. And I'm terribly sorry for your loss of Jasmine. And, it's incredibly brave of you in your grief to try and prevent another family going through what you're going through. But unfortunately, as we learned, families are hearing this news, getting that knock at the door all of the time, and not much seems to be being done about it.
Yeah, can I say one more thing, please?
Say as much as you like, Pauline. Go ahead.
Could people please sign this petition? I never wanted to put Jasmine's name out there, but see if it saves one person's life, this will be worth it. I mean, the response is very, very slow. We need these signatures to try and make a difference and stop the drugs in our streets.
Okay, well, we'll share the link to the petition. Where else can people find it, Pauline, if they want to hop on it now?
Just go on my Facebook page, Pauline Duddy.
Okay.
Right. And you'll see it on there.
All right, Pauline, thank you for your time this morning. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bye-bye, Pauline. Okay, that's Pauline Duddy there.
It's the 9 till noon show in association with the Northwest Truck Fest this Saturday and Sunday at Milford Mart with live music, family fun, a truck convoy and much more.
Strong demand drives prices at early weaning sales. For more in this week's Irish Farmers Journal, here's Paul Mooney.
Special weaning sales set positive tone for suckler farmers. Steadier beef prices, good news for store cattle trade. Eye in the Sky prompts thousands of farm payment queries. Vibrant trade for breeding ewes. Calls for farmers to be paid to reduce milk output. Latest straw prices and advice on chopping straw. Plus in Irish Country Living, find out what your legal liability is when someone walks on your farm.
All inside this week's Irish Farmers Journal. On sale now.
Attention one and all. Easy Living Furniture is turning 25 and we're celebrating with an amazing anniversary sale this bank holiday weekend. Join us for our biggest sale ever, and with free delivery on all orders over £500, this is one sale not to miss. But hurry, as this amazing sale must end soon. Visit Easy Living Furniture, Crescent Link Retail Park. Easy Living Furniture, making homes great since 1998.
Have you just completed the Leaving Certificate? Or maybe you're a parent or a guardian of a Leaving Certificate student? Perhaps you would like to study but haven't made a CAO application and would like to find out more about our available places? At Atlantic Technological University, we combine practical learning with brilliant student supports. Come along to ATU Donegal's Information Day on Friday, 1st of September from 11 a.m. till 4 p.m. and discuss your offer and options with our supportive staff. ATU Donegal, your future is here.
The Citroën EC4 and all new EC4X are fully electric, so that means zero emissions. Their progressive hydraulic cushion suspension means zero vibrations. Their renowned advanced comfort seating means zero discomfort. And now, their impressive finance offer means % interest rate. Book a test drive today at your local Citroën dealer and zero for yourself.
A texter says, speaking of mobility issues, how has there been a skip blocking the busy footpath across from the grill in Letterkenny been allowed for the past couple of days? Actually, I meant to mention that on the show yesterday because a few people sent in pictures of that to me on social media. Is it still there? Hardly still there. Is it blocking that footpath for this long? Surely not. What does that mean for people in a wheelchair, visually impaired or vision impaired, I think the correct terminology is, or with a buggy or what have you? Is it still there? Let me know. 086 60 25,000. Liam Quigley joins us now. Hi, Liam.
Hi, morning, Greg.
Good morning to you. Right, now, you have a mobile home, but you're not going to be able to insure it, at least with your current provider. What's going on?
Well, that seems to be the case. I've just received correspondence from my insurer that due to Brexit, they're unable to cover my mobile home for the coming year.
Now, you like thousands of others have a mobile home in Donegal or anywhere in the Republic, but your principal private residence address is Northern Ireland.
That's correct, yeah.
And is that the problem, Liam, that you're a resident in Northern Ireland and trying to insure something in the Republic?
Well, when I queried this with the insurance company, that's the answer they gave me, that because I am resident in Northern Ireland, that they cannot provide insurance for my mobile home, which is static and based in Donegal.
Now, you've been with them for a decade.
Oh, I've been a caravan owner in Donegal for over 40 years.
Wow.
You know.
And your insurance provider was Dublin based. And what did they did they suggest any alternatives for you?
Yeah, the insurance provider originally was in Donegal, but the people in Donegal stopped doing it, and was eventually sourced through a company in Donegal, who incidentally also have an office in Letterkenny, or a Dublin company. Hello.
Yes, no, I'm listening to you, Liam. There's a slight delay in the line. I'm really trying not to cut across you. That's why I was waiting to see if you'd finished your point. Have you contacted any insurance providers in Northern Ireland to see if they will cover your static mobile home in the Republic?
Well, the company put me through to a company in Belfast who they claim is their sister company, and I've been in touch with them, and they probably would be willing to provide insurance for the mobile home, which is based in Donegal. And that is sort of something that, in previous years I'd inquired about getting insurance in Northern Ireland, and they wouldn't cover mobile homes and based in the Republic, So I'm wondering what the story is, and I'm also wondering, is this a general rule for all companies in the Republic now that they will not offer caravan insurance for people who are based in the north? Or is it just this particular company?
Okay, well, listen, Liam, as you know yourself too, there's a huge community of people in the very same position you are. Hopefully many of them are listening, as they might still be down at their seeing off their summer holidays or whatever it might be in the Republic. But just to recap, Liam, you are confident you will be able to get insurance out of the office in Belfast, but you're kind of questioning as to why.
Well, that is basically the case. As I say, obviously, if it's a ruling that because of Brexit that people from Northern Ireland cannot get insurance for mobile homes that are based in Donegal or anywhere else in the Republic, obviously it's going to create problems for everybody, not only myself. My insurance is not due now until the 4th of October. So I've got at least a month to play about with trying to get something organised. But I'm just wondering now, is this Brexit thing going to create a border now between the north and south?
Yeah, it seems like it, because as you say, in the past, Northern Ireland insurance companies, those based in it, didn't cover caravans located in the Republic.
And basically, if a Northern Ireland company does cover the van in the Republic, what happens if something happens to your van? Have they got a get-out clause that they don't cover it,
I know exactly what you're saying. Okay. Well, Liam, we'll put it out there to the general population and see what their experience is. Maybe there's another Republic-based insurance company that might be able to offer that service to you. And it's not like you can't sort of say that you don't live in Northern Ireland, because if, God forbid, if you have had to make a claim, of course, that would nullify your insurance. So you have to be upfront with them, as you are being, by the way. I'm just saying there's no workarounds in this. Okay, Liam, thank you for that. Liam, quickly there. If you have any insight into that 086 60 25,000, maybe you're able to source insurance in the Republic. I think that's what Liam would be more comfortable with in the event of a claim. A caller says, speaking of mobility issues, how is there... Oh, I've just read that one. Oh my God, can't believe this lady had to come on and ask for this simple matter to be solved in terms of the dropped curve, after asking a councillor and an engineer on previous occasions. Unbelievable. What's wrong with those in authority? Another caller says, good morning, Greg. The people who live on the Kilmacrennan Road in Milford have been waiting since 1980 for a footpath. Some work being done on it now. Let's hope she doesn't have to wait 43 years. Just shows what's thought of people in Milford. More greenwash and Highland Radio News about industrial wind turbines, while communities across the county fight to save their areas from these subsidy-grabbing wind companies. The more turbines on the grid, the more gas is used to keep the grid stable, and the higher our electricity prices. In a biodiversity crisis, we can ill afford to lose any more peat bogs to turbine monstrosities. Now, maybe one of us has misheard it. I was almost 100% sure they were talking about offshore wind farms or wind energy. Not building more wind energy on I'll look at the story here. I could be completely... it's offshore wind farms, sorry. A Midlands Northwest MEP believes energy prices will continue to rise if action is not taken to see the development of offshore wind farms. So maybe that still would require some gas, but it wouldn't affect the bogs that you're concerned about. Morning, Greg. Any feedback on the public meeting yesterday about abolishing the 30 minutes free parking in Buncrana? Thank you kindly. Of course, we will chase that up. Stay tuned to us here on the 9 till noon show. A caller says, in relation to Liam there, has he tried the credit union in the north? I think he would be more comfortable if the insurance company was based in the Republic, because he was concerned that if he did make a claim that the cross-border out of Europe element to it could be used to frustrate the process. Interesting, Greg, we had a similar issue, but we live in Donegal. There were only 3 companies who do caravan insurance. We eventually got cover for €460. Our house insurance in Donegal, €480. Wowzers, okay. Now, you're based, so your address is in Donegal, so that's not good to Liam there as such. But it's interesting information you pass on, by the way. I didn't consider what the price it might be, but that seems really high. Brezzy is very easy to listen to anytime. Not a bad singer either. Sound guy. Yeah, we had Brezzy on the show yesterday. Interesting conversation with him. You can see how he's progressing with his studies and how he relates the information, makes it far easier to understand, which is really important. If you wanted to listen back to that conversation, by the way, it's in the third part of the podcast on our website yesterday. If you want to watch Brezzy, you can go on to YouTube and watch yesterday's show. The Wellness Wednesday is just after the 11 o'clock news, so that'll give you some idea as to where to fast forward through. A caller believes there's no mental health help here. Well, we know from stories that we've been doing that there's a great deal of delays, which is very frustrating. Can Brezzy talk for a few minutes about breathing and getting into your body to relax your mind? How do I do it? Well, listen, maybe that's something we can address down the line into the future. Just some basic tips, because we often talk about, an event that's taking place where you can go and learn some of these tips. But perhaps maybe it'd be worthwhile if we brought someone on and we could talk a little bit about how you get into that space. Because I think for a lot of people, if you sort of can get into that space for a time and give your head a break, that it might make it more easy to deal with any stresses that you may have. Right, okay, just want to give you a very quick reminder that if you want to win €2,500 in cash on Jive Time tomorrow, you have to enter our summer cash draw right now. We've got 3 more draws. You have to enter before tomorrow morning to be in all 3 of them. €2,500 tomorrow, 2,500 the following Friday, and €10,000 on that same Friday. That's money that is going to be given away. Go onto our website, highlandradio.com, to get your tickets if you want to, or you can give us a call and we'll sort you out here.
The 9 till noon show brought to you by the Northwest Truck Fest, taking place this Saturday and Sunday in the grounds of Milford Mart, with proceeds to Donegal Down syndrome.
At Lidl, back-to-school savings are for the whole family. Get family dinners with Board B approved Irish pork loin medallions, 33% extra free, only $2.99. Slice the price of Irish onions, now 39¢. And delicious lunches with Board B approved family pack Irish ham slices, 15% extra free, just $2.99. Go on, shop without compromise. Go full Lidl today.
New football boots just arrived at Brian McCormick Sports. Adidas X Crazy Fast in new white, green or classic black. Adidas Copa Pure in classic black. New Puma King range in soft ground or firm ground. Kids football boots for all sizes in many new colours. Match up your boots with an Adidas or O'Neill set of socks and shorts. Brian McCormick Sports, your football specialist. Click on bmcsports.ie or call in Main Street, Letterkenny.
Donegal Texel Sheep Breeders are holding a sale of 87 rams and 9 ewes in Rafo Livestock Mart this Saturday, the 26th of August, with a sale at 12:30pm. Online bidding via the Mart Bids app. That's this Saturday at Rafo Mart.
Get down to O'Flaherty's Bar Buncrana on Friday the 1st of September with live music from Derek Ryan and special guest David James. Every Wednesday at O'Flaherty's there's live traditional Irish music and Irish dancing. And for all the quiz fans, every Thursday night featuring the Smart Quiz, plus lots more every weekend. O'Flaherty's Bar Buncrana, where a good pint always goes over the bar.
Planning on renovating your garden this summer? Then look no further than Dealside Garden Furniture. With a full range of sizes in garden sheds, summer houses, playhouses, outdoor canopies, fencing and much more. Dealside Garden Furniture Lifford. Made to measure and one-off designs are our speciality. Find us on social media.
Don't miss the Northwest Truck Fest taking place this Saturday and Sunday at Milford Mart. Enjoy a truckload of fun with live music, a truck lights display and much more. This ad is sponsored by Donegal Oil, 9121633.
Live, on air, online and on the Highland Radio app. This is Highland Radio News.
Good morning, it's 10 o'clock. Donald Kavanagh at the news desk. A 22-year-old man has been arrested in relation to a security alert in Derry last year. On the 20th of November 2022, a vehicle was hijacked and a subsequent security alert took place in the Waterside area. The man's been arrested under the Terrorism Act and taken to the Serious Crime Suite at Musgrave Police Station to be questioned. A Derry mother whose daughter died in February with the drug pregabalin in her system is calling for harsher sentences for drug dealers and urging young people to be careful. Pauline Duddy's daughter Jasmine had been receiving treatment at Grantia Hospital, but in February she was found unresponsive in a house in Gallia. She was 21. Earlier this month, police said a number of packs of the drug pregabalin were missing at a time when there were 3 drug-related deaths in the northwest. Well, Pauline Duddy believes while Derry is under the microscope, this is a much more widespread issue and it demands a response.
Dealers is going in doing a few months inside, they're coming back out and they're reoffending straight away because it's easy money. And it's happening everywhere. It's not just happening in Derry, it's happening everywhere. It's just Derry's got highlighted at the minute because there's so many deaths. And these drug dealers need to be put away for a long, long time and then give them time to think.
Pauline Dudley speaking to Greg on the 9 till noon show this morning. The mother of 2 disabled young adult children is calling for a curb to be lowered outside the Blue Cedars housing estate in Ballabafay. Siobhan Lund says she and her family are forced to walk along a busy road because of the way the footpath is structured. Ms Lund's son uses a motorised wheelchair and is stranded on the road for approximately 20 metres until there's an opportunity for him and his family to get back onto a footpath. Siobhan Lund says it's a very dangerous situation.
My heart's in my mouth for the whole stretch, facing fast oncoming traffic on a bend in the road. And it's even worse on the return from town or from Drimbo Woods because our backs are to the traffic. So then I've no way of viewing it then. So it's a real health and safety issue and an accident waiting to happen. And my frustration, Greg, is that it shouldn't take an injury or death to get action. We've had a few near misses which are frightening both for us and also for the poor drivers.
Making the 9% VAT rate for the hospitality sector a permanent measure will be crucial to saving 300,000 jobs across the country. That's the warning from the business group IBEC. The tax is due to rise again to 13.5% next week. The government's ruled out keeping the lower 9% rate, which has already been extended 3 times. But IBEC says many businesses will be unable to shoulder the increase. Spokesperson Sharon Higgins says competitiveness, jobs and entire businesses are on the line.
These are very often low margin businesses right around the country. Remember, they operate in every town and village in Ireland, so are critical to that infrastructure that we have. They will do their best to be competitive, but there comes a point where that just isn't sustainable. So I think it could have significant repercussions for many companies that are already finding it very difficult.
It's been a gloomy month for consumer sentiment. The latest credit union index shows the mood dropped in August for the first time in 5 months to 62.2%. Rising interest rates, inflation and job layoffs are being blamed. However, economist Austin Hughes says people are still spending money. However, they're not enjoying it.
Consumer sentiment, while it did weaken, it's not a collapse. Their willingness to spend improved slightly. Now, that's probably due to bargain hunting in the summer sales, getting kids ready for school. So it's not a case that consumers are out spending freely, but there's a sense that they still have to spend, and many are reasonably able.
And concerns have been raised over a Garda plan to carry out immigration checks in Dublin. The Garda Press Office says the checks are part of a wider plan to tackle rates of inner-city crime. However, several immigrant representative groups believe this will result in distrust between Gardaí and migrants in the community. Adele McGinley is director of the Migrants' Rights Centre. She says the order is unfounded.
Safety is important for us all, whether you're a woman walking down the street at night, a tourist, a worker, and that's no less important for immigrants, who, by the way, are also very subject enough to frequent attacks while working and living in the city. What we're concerned about really is the risk of ethnic profiling, and that this is an unjustified and disproportionate measure.
Weather forecast met Aaron tell us to expect long spells of sunshine today with scattered showers. Top temperature 16 to 18 degrees Celsius in moderate to fresh westerly breezes. Clear spells and scattered showers tonight with the odd heavy shower possible. Lowest overnight temperatures 9 to 12 degrees Celsius in a moderate to fresh west to northwest breeze. Friday, breezy with a mix of sunshine and showers. Some of those showers heavy with a chance of thunder. Maximum temperatures 16 to 19 degrees Celsius in fresh and gusty northwest winds. Strong on the northwest coast. And that's Highland Radio News. We're back with news headlines again at 11 o'clock. Until then, from the news team, good morning.
The obituary notices this Thursday morning, August 24th. The death has taken place of Jeremiah Maya Gallagher, Luton, England, formerly of Falduff, Carndonagh. His remains will arrive at his late residence in Glebe, Ballyliffin Road, Carndonagh this evening to repose overnight. Funeral from there tomorrow at 12 noon, going to the Church of the Sacred Heart Carndonagh for Requiem Mass at 12:30 p.m, with interment afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. Family time please from 11 p.m, family flowers only please. The funeral mass can be viewed live on churchmedia.tv. The death has occurred of Margaret Pearl McGee, Drumgumberland Convoy. Remains reposing at her late residence today from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. Funeral leaving from there on Saturday at 10:20 a.m. for Requiem Mass in St Mary's Church Convoy at 11 a.m. Interment afterwards in the Old Cemetery. Family time please from 9 p.m. to 11 a.m. and on the morning of the funeral. Donations in lieu of flowers, if so desired, directly to the Alzheimer's Society of Ireland or care of any family member. The death has taken place of Ishwari Banjara, Church Bray Fawn, formerly of Pannoti, Nepal. Remains will leave McLaughlin's funeral home Buncrana at 4 p.m. today, going to the Doherty family home Portthaw, Buncrana. Removal from there on Sunday at 11 a.m, going to Lakelands Crematorium, Dublin Road, Cavan for cremation. House private for family only on Saturday and Sunday morning. Service can be viewed on lakelandscrematorium.ie. The death has occurred of Tony Doherty, Skell, Tierhorn, Clonmany. Tony's remains will be arriving at the Bridgend border at approximately 4 p.m. today. Tony will be reposing at his brother Neil's residence, house private from 10 p.m. both nights. Removal from there on Saturday at 11 a.m. for a celebration of Tony's life at 3 p.m. at Lakelands Crematorium, Cavan. Family flowers only please. The death has taken place of Mandy Mitchell, Glasson, Carrigart. His remains are reposing at the residence of his nephew Danny next door. Funeral from there this morning, going to the Church of St John the Baptist for Requiem Mass at 11 a.m. Interment afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. For more details, including any family health guidelines for wakes and funerals, please go to highlandradio.com.
Installing a phone watch alarm for only €49 makes your home 4 times less likely to be burgled.
Wait, really? Phone watch makes you 4 times less likely to be burgled?
So you can keep your home more secure.
4 times more secure.
And your loved ones safer.
4 times safer.
Because with over 9,000 burglaries in Ireland last year, we could all do with 4 times more protection.
Gotcha.
So don't be alarmed. Be phone watched. Monitoring fees apply. Based on CSO March 2023 data. Hurry. Offer ends soon.
Okay, you're very welcome back to the 9 till noon show here on Highland Radio. We're into the second hour. Good morning if you've just joined us. Great to have you back on board. I want to read an email that we've received from a listener who is obviously really concerned with a situation, and maybe someone out there has some advice or even some help. I appreciate it might be a long shot, but maybe it resonates with someone. And I'll read it as it was sent to us. I'm reaching out to you as a cry for help for my daughter. We are from Donegal, however. My daughter is a student in St. Angel's College in Sligo. She's going into her third year of ID nursing. Over the summer months, she has been working in Sligo General Hospital as a care assistant and had summer accommodation. However, in the next 7 to 10 days, my daughter has nowhere to live. She will be homeless. She has to move out of her current accommodation and has been trying to find a house or room for the last 3 months. And after going to viewing upon viewings, she's being faced with the same answers from the landlords. We don't take students. She's a hard-working, honest and driven young girl. She's only 19 and holds down a job and attends her course daily. I can't help but feel so sorry for her to think that she may have to defer her year of college as she can't find anywhere to go. There are many houses in the Sligo area which have been used now by Ukrainian families, which could have been used for students. I've no doubt I'm not the only person to email you and your team to try and get some help for her advice. This is a lot of pressure on families. I've raised my daughter on my own, and to have her attend third level education has been a very proud moment for me. However, seeing her lose faith in herself, her course and her country as a whole is very disheartening. She's decided once she does finish her degree, she'll have no choice but to move away, as there is no incentive to stay in Ireland. And with the lack of houses now for students, what will it be like in a few years? I'm hoping you can shed some hope for us. She's on a waiting list for student accommodation, also such as Ardnua and Yates Village. This is a waiting list of possibly 100 people, and at the minute we're hoping and praying that she will get a place if someone else drops out, but this will not be for weeks yet. In the next 7 to 10 days, my daughter will have no choice but to come home, sign on the dole and defer her college for a year. This is not good enough from our government that we are having to do this as a response or in a response to a housing crisis. If there is anyone you know or your team knows who to turn to next for help, we're a very worried family for my daughter, and she is, and the stress she's carrying. I'd be grateful to hear from you or your team. Now, we spoke to the mum, who was obviously very, very upset, and really effectively, her daughter needs accommodation in Sligo. So what should she do? I presume she's been onto the Students' Union, and that's how she found herself on the students' accommodations waiting list. Maybe there's a couple of people listening to this programme who have a spare room or are looking for someone who's dedicated and reliable to live with them. But the way it stands at the moment, she's got about a week, and if she can't get accommodation, well, she's going to have to defer her course for a year. Now, in doing so, that doesn't guarantee anything in terms of availability of accommodation next year. But as I say, if you have any advice or suggestions, now, obviously, we can opine and have our opinions about, the country needs to be doing this, that and the other in terms of housing, and that's fine if you want to comment on that, but also to maybe specifically if you have a solution or you can offer a solution, you would make a family very, very happy, and you would allow a young person, just 19 years of age, working in the healthcare sector, to be able to continue her studies. The text line, as you might know, 086 60 25,000, 086 60 25,000, or give us a call on 074 91 25,000. All right, it is Thursday, the 24th of August. That means it's jackpot day for the bingo. Now, just to remind you, I'm sure you're fully aware, but just in case, the bingo is not a club. It's not something that you join at the beginning and then you're in it. It's something you can play whenever you like. It's €5 for a week to play. That's €1 a day. There's at least €200 a day in daily cash prizes. And then on Thursday, the big jackpot. And in playing, you are one of the key supporters financially of the National Council for the Blind of Ireland. It generates revenue for them so they can do the work that they do in terms of working with people who are just learning that their vision is going to be lost or whatever it might be. We do interview them a couple of times a year just to remind people of the work that they do. But in playing bingo, you're having fun, potentially winning great money, but you're also supporting the National Council for the Blind of Ireland. And the books for next week are in shops now. You can go and pick one up and start playing. As I say there's no it's open to absolutely everyone to start playing whenever you like. Okay, so I'm sure thousands of you out there have your books. Is the jackpot going to go today? Let's see.
It's time for NCBI Bingo on Highland Radio.
It's Thursday, the 24th of August, Jackpot Day. You're playing for the jackpot prize of €20,000 on the pink sheet. The reference number is S9. It's game number 34. The jackpot number is 19. This number can come out in any position from the next 10 numbers drawn. And now, here are your daily numbers. 17, 49, 65, 20, 48, 88, 78, 71, 7, and finally 25. Phone your claim to 91048333 before 8 tonight, leaving your name, contact number and the name of the shop where you purchased your book, and we'll call you back the next working day. Get all your NCBI bingo information at highlandradio.com.
What's your dream job? Lawyer? Software developer? Engineer? Or criminologist? Do you want to develop renewable energies? Create the next great drama? Or improve people's health? Anything is possible at Ulster University, where you can study in the heart of Derry Londonderry. Clearing places are now available to help you realise your ambitions. It's time to say hello, future. Apply now for September 2023 at ulster.ac.uk/clearing.
New this week at Home Store and More. All painting and DIY accessories are all half price. But better hurry, because when all the half price painting and DIY accessories are gone, they're gone. Also, all home office desks and chairs are still all half price. But when all the half price home office desks and chairs are gone, they're definitely gone. Drop by your local Home Store and More, or visit us online at homestoreandmore.ie. New store now open in Frascati Centre, Blackrock, Dublin. Home Store and More. A happy home.
It's the 9 to Noon Show in association with the Northwest Truck Fest this Saturday and Sunday at Milford Mart, with live music, family fun, a truck convoy and much more.
Now hopefully we can say good morning to Danny Quigley. Are you there, Danny?
Yeah, I'm here, Craig.
Good morning. It's great to have you on the show. Now, Danny, people will be aware, and if they won't, if they're not now, they will be shortly, that you are swimming the length of the foil to celebrate the lives of those who have died by suicide and to raise money for mental health charities. Money raised going to two very, very worthy causes, Foil Search and Rescue and the Bogside and Brandywell Health Forum. Now, you started your swim on Monday. We'll talk more about what is involved and the importance of these charities, but first and foremost, how's it going for you? A huge challenge to undertake, Danny.
It's been really brutal, to be honest. My sinuses are a bit blocked up now at the minute. That's the way I sound like this, but no, it's been really tiring and dark but I've got the Kennego yesterday. But it took me like 4 hours to swim about 10k.
Wow,
which is really, really slow. Like I was swimming for about 40 minutes there, and I didn't move at all. Like it was in the one spot.
That requires a great deal of physical strength, but I'd imagine mental strength too, Danny, because, 4 hours on the spot effectively, you will have your targets and your expectations. Is it tough to keep the mind in the game?
There was a few times we were sort of thinking more about safety and in terms of should we the boat was thinking like maybe we should get him on the boat and try again tomorrow. But I says like if I can get through, like there's a neb in the water, so it's sort of the water's curling and pushing you the wrong way. But if I could get through that, then I would maybe ease for a wee while, and then I would come to the next one, and then I would ease a bit if I get through that. So it was just sort of a matter of like moving really, really slow at times, and then you might be getting pushed another bit. But it was definitely it was soul destroying, like looking at the watch and knowing that you're going nowhere, but you might be working 3 times as hard going going nowhere. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, using all your energy to stand still, really, again, as you say, really frustrating. Have you been able to swim every day since Monday, and how long are you spending in the water, Danny?
Yeah, so, like, whenever I got on at Lifford, I did a leg to Perhen, and then I got out of Perhen, so that was about 20-something kilometres, and then I got back on that night at midnight, and then swam through the Craigavon Bridge, Peace Bridge, out to Muff, so that was the actual river done. And then the next day I started in the loch, and I swam from the loch just past Redcastle. I got out at the Carrick-a-Rory pier, but again there was a massive swell of water at Redcastle Hotel that just again it knocked me back. The kayakers out with me, they even says, "Look, Danny, we need to go onto the pier because we don't know if we're going to make it back." So again, like swimming on the one spot for nearly 20 minutes at Redcastle, and slowly moving forward. But once you got the break, it picked up then, and I managed to get in. But that was I think I've done about 18 hours of swimming now so far.
Wow. That's unbelievable, and in really trying conditions. And do you have to reach somewhere by a certain time, Danny? And given the challenges you faced, is that doable now at this point?
Yeah. So like there was 110 names nominated by family members of people who have died from suicide, and I only had 110 kilometres, just for a kilometre sort of for every person. They marked their celebration. No do it for them, and that's the target. I'm sitting at around 71 kilometres at the minute, so I've about to go yet.
So if you get the 40 kilometres under your belt, that'll be a kilometre for every person nominated. And did the challenge come first, and then you decided to support these charities and to raise to celebrate the lives of those who died by suicide, or did you want to do that and you said, right, well, I can do this swimming challenge by to facilitate that?
Yeah, well, my ideology of the whole thing was that the river itself is kind of known and got really bad connotations around suicide. You know, the river is seen as an end point for a lot of people, and I think like by doing something positive on the water or around the water, or having people around the water in a positive note, well, I think it can only do good things. But the idea of celebrating the lives of people comes from my own experience of my father, in the sense that a lot of the time when people die from suicide, we fear away from the conversations surrounding it, and we fear away from even talking about it. And what can happen is we don't remember the people. No, we don't remember the people for the good times, the happy memories. We sometimes let the suicide overshadow the person. And what I'm trying to do is allow people to celebrate these people and remember them for who they were, not how they died.
Yeah, and the nature of the death doesn't define who they were or take away from the other elements. You know, in other words, the happier times, the good times, and what have you. Okay, and also
because you've got all different walks of life there.
Yeah,
you know,
for sure.
You've got younger people, you've got older people, you've got people who are very successful in terms of society and how they earn money and that sort of way of thinking, and then you've got other people who wouldn't be seen by society, not myself, as being somebody who is deserving of a certain way.
Yeah, it celebrates all their
level
lives.
Of respect.
Celebrates all their lives equally.
Yeah. Exactly.
And of course, we're all familiar with the excellent work Full Search and Rescue and the Bogside and Brandywell Health Forum do. So an important element of this, of course, as well as celebrating the lives who have died, of those who have died by suicide, is to raise money for the organisations that help to prevent it or intervene or who need to be there if someone does enter the water.
exactly. Because we can talk all day about the whys and what needs done, but it all boils down to the simple matter that prevention is the key in all of this. No, if we can prevent one person from taking their life, then it outweighs any sort of discussion of whys. You know, if we can prevent one, then that means more than anything else. You know.
Okay, well, there is a GoFundMe page, which we'll link on our social media as well, Danny, if anyone wants to support you in the work that you're doing and join you in fundraising for Full Search and Rescue and the Bogside and Brandywell Health Forum, but also join you in showing people for more than the manner in which they died as well, and celebrating their lives and their contributions and the memories that they've left behind them. Is there anything else, Danny, that you want to add? I presume you're getting back in the water soon, or are you on a rest at the moment?
Yeah. I'm actually getting my breakfast now. I'm back on the water at 12.
Right.
No, just want to say thanks for all the support so far, and it's really appreciated. Like, it means a lot.
All right, Danny, well done to you. Really appreciate it. It's an amazing undertaking for all the right reasons. Thanks, Danny. Danny Quigley there, just taking his breakfast before he gets back in the water as he continues that unbelievable challenge that he's taken on there. Just to remind you, 086 60 25,000, WhatsApps and texts to that number, or give us a call on 074 91 25,000. Would you be familiar with initiatives like Couch to 5K and what have you? But there's been a really interesting take on that name. How would you like to not leave the couch but be able to communicate in Irish within 6 weeks? Eamon O'Donnell joins us now. Hi, Eamon. Good morning to you. Thanks for taking the call.
Good morning, Greg.
I love this in terms of sort of the marketing appeal of it, the achievability of it, if that's a word in English. But you know what I mean? Like, so talk to me about the company and talk to me about this initiative.
Yeah, well, Gelchang is the company that I established along with my partner in April 2021, and we're an online education company, and we focus on the Irish language, teaching Irish to adults. The Couch to Cora initiative is our challenge. It seeks to encourage people to take up the learning of Irish again. It's aimed specifically at those who studied Irish at school maybe a good number of years ago, but who never quite got to grips with the language. Unfortunately, that's the majority of Irish people. So it's trying to encourage them to try again and get stuck into the language again.
Yeah, and there's many reasons why people might want to do that, because lots of people would say, I wish I'd have kept up with the Irish, or I wish I could speak Irish, but their lives are too busy, or we say they are in any case. But also, too, we've never seen as many young people, I would say, going into our Gael schools, and they need, it'd be nice if there was a bit of Irish spoken at home, or a parent or guardian could offer some assistance with homework. So there's plenty of reasons as to why someone might want to brush up or improve their Irish.
Yes, indeed. And, the language, it's under pressure. I'm from Gweedore myself, and the language is under pressure as a community language. But at the same time, you mentioned Gaels calls there, they're growing in popularity. And then there's a global audience as well for the Irish language. So because of the internet, obviously, the interest in the language has grown considerably in the last 20 years. Believe it or not, in 2022, Irish was the 15th most popular language on Duolingo, which is absolutely incredible given that there are 6,800 languages in the world. So that just shows that there is an interest not only at home but abroad as well.
From what starting point might you need to be at on day one, and where could you hope to get to after 6 weeks, I wonder?
Yes, well, as I mentioned, this is aimed specifically at people who studied Irish at school before, in primary and secondary school, who have a lot of language in their head, but can't quite get it out there. So it's aimed at them. So in 6 weeks, people would be surprised at the progress that they could make. The Couch to Cora course, it's an online course. It's very, very accessible, totally bilingual. So everything taught is translated into English without exception. Every new word and sentence is accompanied by a sound file, which will help people with pronunciation. And the language taught in it is very, very practical and useful. So people will be encouraged by that. And in the past, I suppose at school, people learned a lot of language that wasn't really that important, wasn't that really, central to their everyday context. So this course is very practical and highly interactive as well. There are fun exercises at the end of every unit to enable people to test what they've been learning in that unit.
And in terms of, I presume everyone has the ability, if they put the effort in, to learn a language. We can learn stuff all of the time. I want to say everyone. Obviously there might be some reasons that that inhibit people, or it's complicated for them. But for the most part, if you apply yourself, you should be able to learn another language. It's tried and tested, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. The thing is really to just put time aside every day. I'd say my advice to people would be to spend 20 minutes a day if they take up the Couch to Cora challenge. 20 minutes a day is fine. There are 6 units in the online course. And if they do 1 unit every week for 6 weeks, they'd be very surprised at how much they can communicate then at the end of that period.
If someone hasn't learned Irish in national school or left secondary school early, is it still worth them having a go?
Absolutely, because it does start with the very, very basics again. It covers, the type of language that you would normally find at the beginning of a beginner's course. It does progress then more quickly than a beginner's course, but definitely it's worthwhile. People who have no prior knowledge of the language, it's worth their while trying this challenge as well.
Yeah, I'm just picking up from earlier comments you made, do you think to some extent we missed a trick in that maybe if we talked about how we taught Irish, the way it was taught and what we taught, that the use of the language, we might be in a better place now, that maybe this is a hangover from maybe approaching things historically not the best way?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I agree with you totally there. In the school system in the past, the focus was very much on the written language. Kids were writing the language too soon. That might still be the case indeed. And then in the case of secondary school kids, for the Leaving Cert, they learn exam competency. They learn the ability to undertake exams rather than the ability to communicate. Yes, exactly. But that's the case in a lot of subjects in the Leaving Cert, but it's particularly the case in Irish.
Yeah, but Irish is alive, really, though. It's slightly different. We need a different approach, isn't it? It's our history, it's our heritage, it's our culture. It's not, algebra.
Yeah, indeed. But look, the situation has improved in recent years. There's, 40% of the marks now in the Leaving Cert go to the oral exam. So there's a greater focus on the spoken language now. And, therefore, I'd say maybe some parents could do with this sort of challenge because they probably went through a system where the focus wasn't really on the spoken language, so they need to brush up to keep up with their kids now.
Yeah, for sure. And obviously my experience is primarily with the English language, but it's being able to speak and communicate, and then with familiarity, the kind of spelling follows, and the phraseology and punctuation and all that kind of stuff. Is there a cost to this,
Yes.
Eamon?
Yeah, it's €10. That's the cost
the 6 weeks
of
course.
6-week course. It's a self-study course, and the idea then is that if people, if people feel that they've made progress, they might be interested in attending one of our live online classes.
So we sample menu.
or they might be interested in going to a class with, say, Edgescale in Glencombe-Kill. That school now has been in existence for nearly 40 years, and it attracts people from over 30 countries every year, and it's a very, very vibrant language school.
All right, people can get more information or registrate at gelchanga.ispringmarket.ie, and that's I as in like the iPhone. Gelchanga, GRELTERNGAR.I, springmarket.eu. Be interesting to see off the back of the 6 weeks how people get on. But I mean, I presume you'd be confident that a good proportion of people will get to some decent level of competence.
Yeah, I mean, it does. It's just like the Couch to 5K challenge. It does take effort. You have to get out of that bed in the morning and do it. It's what you put into it. That's what you get out of it. The easy way actually to access the courses through gelchanga.com or our own website.
Okay.
GALTENGA.com. Yeah.
All right then. Listen, thank you very much indeed for that. I appreciate your time. And that was Eamon O'Donnell, Gelchanga founder and director of education there. If any of you decide to take part in that, maybe keep us updated to see how you get on. 086 60 25,000, but you know that number anyway, don't you? Glasses lost yesterday afternoon in Bridgetown, Moville, or somewhere around Borderland, Muff, or Kiernan's in Newtown, Cunningham. There are brownie, creamy frames, tortoise shell-like. Caller is lost without them and would be really grateful to hear from anyone who may have found them. So have you seen a brownie, creamy framed, that tortoise shell style pair of glasses? They were lost yesterday afternoon in Bridgetown, Moville, or somewhere around Borderland in Muff or Kiernan's in Newtown, Cunningham. Someone's bound to have come across them. We just hope we get their ears. And we hope we get their ears and they get in contact with us. Okay, something really quite remarkable happened. It would have certainly been a massive, massive story a few decades ago, but India has successfully landed a spacecraft on the south pole of the moon. We're going to be talking about that and its significance after these messages.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook and at highlandradio.com.
The 9 till noon show brought to you by the Northwest Truck Fest, taking place this Saturday and Sunday in the grounds of Milford Mart, with proceeds to Donegal Down syndrome.
Over recent months, we've all been dealing with the reality of rising energy costs, and we've all been making changes to reduce our energy use. However, if you are having trouble paying your energy bills, be sure to talk to your supplier as soon as possible. There are a range of protections in place for customers. Organisations such as MABS and Alone can also help. For information on these and all other supports available, visit gov.ie/reduce your use. Brought to you by the Government of Ireland.
Are you tired of hiding your smile? It's time to regain your confidence at Blue Poppy Orthodontics. We offer a range of solutions from Invisalign and regular braces to general dentistry, teeth whitening, implants and composite bonding. And now some exciting news. At Blue Poppy, your Invisalign clear brace is now available for the same price as conventional braces and includes an attractive repayment plan. Take the first step with Blue Poppy Orthodontics, Letterkenny and Donegal Town. Call 074 974 0404.
What's your dream job? Lawyer? Software developer? Engineer? Or criminologist? Do you want to develop renewable energies? Create the next great drama? Or improve people's health? Anything is possible at Ulster University, where you can study in the heart of Derry Londonderry. Clearing places are now available to help you realise your ambitions. It's time to say hello, future. Apply now for September 2023 at ulster.ac.uk/clearing.
The stunning 4-star Ballyliffin Lodge and Spa are hosting their fantastic wedding fair on Sunday the 27th of August from 1 to 4 p.m. Full hotel show around, nearly 40 top-class wedding exhibitors, plus so much more. One fair not to be missed.
The Northwest Truck Fest returns to Milford Mart this Saturday and Sunday, with live music from Norman Borland on Sunday afternoon from 2 till 4 p.m. This ad is sponsored by JD Recovery Services, Kilmacrennan and Donegal Town. 9139303.
Okie doke. Now, we're going to talk very shortly about the India's success in landing on the moon. But I just want to read a couple of comments first. Well done to Jasmine's mum for coming on and speaking publicly about the drug epidemic which is ongoing. I have seen firsthand the detrimental impacts of pregabalin, aka buds, and it's a problem which isn't going to away, but hopefully with education people will be better informed, hence making better decisions. Rest in peace, Jasmine. Now, you might be familiar with the film Interstellar. It's a space exploration film, hugely popular, but hugely expensive to make. Now, India has successfully landed a spacecraft near the moon's south pole. But why do I mention the film? Because they were able to do so for less money than it cost to make the film Interstellar, which I think is really quite a remarkable achievement. So an Indian spacecraft has landed on the moon, the space agency said, and a mission seen as crucial to lunar exploration, and India's standing as a space power, sparking celebrations and applause among technicians guiding the mission. David Moore is editor of Astronomy Ireland magazine and joins us now. How are you getting on, David?
Fantastic. Lots of things happening in space, lots of things happening in Ireland as well.
Well, we'll talk about that. But first, this is a remarkable achievement out of India, isn't it? And why is it so remarkable, actually?
Well, because they're only the fourth nation that's ever landed on the moon successfully. They did try 4 years ago, and unfortunately that craft failed. And just a few days ago, the Russians tried to re-land after a 47-year absence from the moon, and they failed as well. They previously done it. They actually sent craft, landed on the moon, picked up rocks and brought them back to the Earth. The Russians have their own moon rocks, not just the Americans. And China's currently orbiting the moon at the moment and has a lander on the surface also. So it's all go for the moon. India is pulling up the world's most populous nation and now a serious spacefaring nation.
Yeah, what's the significance of the landing on the south pole of the moon?
Well, that's where we think will be the best place to have a permanent lunar space station, because the craters on the moon are quite deep, and some of them at the south pole, the sun never hits the floor of the crater. So the temperature there stays at minus 200 degrees Celsius. So any water either left over from the creation of the moon or that was perhaps came from comets bombarding the moon stays there for millions, perhaps billions of years. And that's a fantastic resource. It's very expensive to fly water from the Earth to the moon. So if it's there already, you can use it for people, obviously, but you can also make rocket fuel out of it using just sunlight. So it's a huge resource in its own right.
Now, there'll be an exploration element to this, of course. They'll successfully, if they haven't already, dispatch their, I'm not sure really what they're calling it, but their rover. And presume what kind of data might they be seeking to gather?
Yeah, well, this mission relies on sunlight. So the day on the moon is actually 14 Earth days long. So they'll have power for a 14-day mission. So everything's got to be crammed in there. So they'll be furiously testing out the systems, making sure everything works, and then getting the science missions underway. They want to look for that water. They can monitor moonquakes as well. The camera's already sent back its first photographs of the surface where it's landed. So it's going to be a very intense 14 days for scientists who would have put years, if not decades, of work into getting to where they are today for just that fortnight.
Obviously, it's a turbulent world at the moment and lots of disagreements in different parts of the world, not least among some of the names and countries that you mentioned there. But in terms of space exploration, what level of cooperation is there amongst the various countries, I wonder?
I was just thinking that myself the other night. 2 nights ago, I think it was, we watched live a Russian robot craft being launched up to the International Space Station. And when you think of the relations between the Americans, particularly and Russians, in fact, the rest of the Western world, the fact that they're still cooperating in space, that right now there are Russians working alongside Americans on the International Space Station, I'd like to say you hold out hope for the future of the human race, but perhaps it's just one step. It does at least show, from the science and engineering point of view, people can work together despite perhaps what the politicians may be getting up to, and they haven't ruined too much of the space industry. There have been some setbacks. Ukraine was a huge resource for building parts for space. They've got great rocket scientists there. And that's lost to Russia, lost to the rest of the world. A lot of them have fled. So it's going to be a bit of turmoil, but at least there is some light at the end of the tunnel. And the Indian Prime Minister said in his speech, he hopes this is seen as a victory for the human race, not just for India.
Yeah, which is carefully chosen language. So where does this leave us in terms of what we hope to achieve? I mean, humanity. Obviously, Elon Musk has his sights set on Mars, and he has got, great notions to put people on Mars in his lifetime. And yet here we have countries still sort of exploring what the moon might hold for us. So what is the goal, or what's the next big thing that these various parties are working towards, I wonder?
Yeah, we love writing about this in Astronomy Ireland every month. There is so much happening behind the scenes that you don't see in everyday life. So NASA has launched Artemis 1 mission, which was a huge moon rocket that went around the moon and is capable of carrying people last year. That worked perfectly. Now, the next mission is Artemis 2. The crew is selected. They're training at the moment. They should launch in about a year's time. And they're going to go around the moon with people on board this time, much riskier. Make sure that works. They won't land. But Artemis 3, probably 2025 is the chance it's going to slip. There'll be a crew that will land on the surface of the moon. The first time since 1972. And the idea then is to set up a moon base. NASA's not just going back this time to do what they did, a PR stunt for the Cold War back in the 60s. This time is to build up a base and to use the moon as a stepping stone to Mars and beyond. And Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, all the billionaires who have space companies are heavily involved. NASA subcontracts this out to them. Musk company SpaceX is building part of the rocket system that goes to the moon. So he's very much going to the moon because he's being paid to do so. But he is still building his 100-seater Mars ferry, which seems crazy, but you see this thing gleaming in the sunlight. And as a private individual built this thing to take 100 people to Mars, we have never even sent more than that. We'll send 4 people to the moon to start with in this decade. So they have big plans. And I remember himself and Jeff Bezos both were on stage when they said they are going to put 1 million people on Mars by the end of this century. Now, if anybody else said that, you'd say they were crazy. But these guys, they don't just say things like that unless they've got a plan to get there.
When you see the difficulty countries have in landing things on the moon, there's been two failed attempts this year alone, if I'm not mistaken, China and Russia. It makes it all the more remarkable, and some might say unbelievable, what was achieved in the 70s with the technology that was available then.
Yeah, well, of course, it was early days then, and NASA was spending 5% of the US federal budget. They wouldn't get that kind of money today, but $100 billion was spent. But it was a prestige project, and that's really what this mission is for India. It's to show, that they're at the cutting edge, world-class scientists and engineers. And a lot of those people go on to work in industry. This is where the entire microelectronics industry came from. All your smartphones, laptops, things that people are using to watch and listen to this now. That all came from the need to miniaturize electronics to go to the moon. And so you never know what the spin-offs are going to be. And you train your workforce to do the crazy kind of things they never normally do. And they see applications on the Earth. So NASA's often done studies of how many dollars do they get back for every one tax dollar that they invest. And it's usually, you hear varying figures between $3 and $7. So if you're at that level where you can spend billions on space, it can really benefit your economy.
Right, finally, and regular readers of Astronomy Ireland magazine would already know, but anything exciting happening on the ground, or at least something we can see from the ground?
We have 2 big events coming up. On Sunday, we're setting up telescopes to look at Venus while it's closest to Earth. We think less than 1 in a million people has ever seen that. You can do it on Sunday at 3 o'clock. Check out our website, astronomy.ie. And the big event is to see Saturn and Jupiter. I was looking at them myself in the telescope last night. On September 9th, we have the biggest annual star party, Starbecue, in the Wicklow Mountains. Everybody's invited for a barbecue, giant telescopes, wonders of the universe. huge lasers, trade shows, stands, exhibitions, great night out for the whole family. I mean, don't miss that. Astronomy.ie, get your tickets now.
Simple as. Thank you so much for your time, David Moore. That's David Moore, editor of Astronomy Ireland, 08660 25,000. Our next guest now is Cormac McQuinn, political correspondent at the Irish Times. Cormac, a very good morning to you, and thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning, Greg.
How are you keeping?
Good.
Good stuff. Right. Now, the local elections are coming up next year. That's the one one of two elections. We have some certainty in relation to that. And people now living in Ireland, is it specifically Ukrainian people, or is it anyone who's sought shelter in this country will be entitled to vote?
Well, yeah, it's specifically in local elections. You do not have to be an Irish citizen to vote in local elections. The only requirements are that you're over 18 and that you register to vote. So we've had a situation last couple of weeks where the government has published a new guide for how local authority members in Ireland are elected, specifically in the Ukrainian language. I mean, there's a certain irony that today is Ukrainian Independence Day, yet their citizens are scattered all over Europe, and in the far west of Europe, couldn't be further away from Kiev and other places in Ukraine. They're being advised on how they can vote in an election that's not due to take place until next year. So it's an indication that Ukrainian citizens, people fleeing Vladimir Putin's war, could be with us for some time yet.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously everyone's going to have their own take on this move, dependent on what they think. But what we do know is 55,000 Ukrainian refugees will be eligible to vote in local elections. Many of them in Donegal, as we took quite a proportion of them. But we don't know how many of them might be interested or engaged or bothered to either. So we don't really know what impact, if any, it will have, other than them having the right to do so.
Sure, it's eligible to vote and also to be elected. Anyone, you don't have to be an Irish citizen to be elected to a local authority either. So it would be very curious to see over the coming months. The local elections are not due to happen until June next year. It'd be interesting to see, firstly, how many people register to vote from different nationalities, but specifically Ukrainian, given the sheer numbers that have come to Ireland over the last almost 2 years. But also to see whether any of them might fancy running for elected office in Ireland. It's a possibility. The elections are still several months away. It's something that could happen in that period.
Now, this is not unusual, is it, for us to, or it's not unique to Ukrainian, for us to publish guides in different languages?
No, not at all. There's the guts of probably 20 different languages, everything from Arabic and Chinese to Spanish and Polish, has been published over the years. A reflection of how Ireland's become more multicultural, I guess, over the last couple of decades. It's brought about a requirement to inform people of their voting rights, but it's not just telling people that they are entitled to vote. There is an explanation of Ireland's system of local governments, the city and county councils, how they work, but also Ireland's electoral system, the proportional representation, single transferable vote. It's almost unique in the world. I think the only other place in the world that uses it, Malta. So an explanation for how to give those preferences in order of 1, 2, 3, etc. is also provided for populations that, in some cases, depending on where they come from, mightn't be used to free and fair elections, but also in other places will certainly not have used that system before.
Yeah, and the motivation is for inclusion and to give everyone, I suppose, a say on how local matters are dealt with. But do you believe? And I'll reference Ukraine specifically because it's the fastest increase in a population. Do you believe that candidates who aren't maybe Ukrainian themselves will court the votes? Do you believe there's enough votes there when you spread the 56,000 across the country that it's enough really to tip the balance? Like, do you believe that this group of individuals can influence the outcomes of elections in different areas?
Certainly in very specific places, it might well be worth doing. I mean, in certain local election areas, there might be a few hundred Ukrainian refugees. Encouraging them to register and to vote may well make a difference to candidates. I mean, there are parts of the country where quite high numbers have gone. Donegal is certainly one of them. Kerry, Clare, other places. In places with large populations of Ukrainian refugees, it may well be worth a while, because remember, in a local election, you only need 1,500 votes to get elected. It can make a significant difference in those sorts of areas. But it does remain to be seen how many people from Ukraine do register to vote. It was not something that the Department of Housing and Local Government was able to tell me. The local authorities, the individual local authorities in the months to come may be able to provide some data on how many people from Ukraine have registered. It will be certainly interesting to see those high population counties, if it indeed runs into the hundreds or indeed the thousands. It's as you said, more than 50,500 people are eligible. They're over 18. There will unfortunately likely be more people from Ukraine coming, as this war looks like it's not going to end anytime soon. So there could be significant enough numbers. Remember, I mean, 50,500. That's greater than the size of a town like Drogheda or like Swords. It's a big population, albeit spread out throughout the country. But there are votes there for the winning if local election candidates are take the initiative, I suppose.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see if on Facebook groups and other sort of groups that represent Ukrainian people, or that mostly Ukrainian people partake in over here, if they organise in any way, shape or form. That'll be an interesting to see going forward. And just finally, some people might frame it a different way. This is nothing new in terms of who's eligible to vote in local and EU in local elections. Sorry.
No, it has always been the case that you don't have to be an Irish citizen to vote in local elections. It's very different for referendums. Referendums, you must be an Irish citizen. General elections are different again. It's Irish citizens and British citizens are allowed to vote in Irish general elections. But certainly for local elections, it's nothing. A European election will be held on the same day next year. Irish citizens and EU citizens will be able to vote. Now, Ukrainians won't be able to vote in that one unless they somehow have dual citizenship with another EU country. So there are various different rules. But for local elections, it's perhaps the most democratic if you're living here, albeit for the least powerful arm of government. But everyone can vote, provided they're registered 15 days before polling days, when people have to get their registration applications into the local authorities.
It's going to be interesting to see how it fares out in different areas. Obviously, my interest being what happens locally here. Cormac, thanks so much for your time this morning. Take care of yourself.
Thanks, Greg.
Bye-bye. Cormac McQuinn there, political correspondent at the Irish Times. So I'm not sure if it's been worked out yet how many Ukrainians will be eligible to vote in the local elections here in Donegal. It's going to be in the thousands anyway. I would estimate, maybe 3,500, 4,000? Who is to say? And what influence they might have. But certainly in particular areas where there is a concentration in the population, there's just no doubt there's enough there if they want to influence the outcome of the election. Conrad's having none of this crack that India landed on the moon. More fake news, usual fake news, he says. Cheap CGI, wake up people, didn't happen. But Conrad, listen, I'm inquisitive. I have a quizzical mind myself. I would have thought, how... to have the Russians complicit in it, because they'd have to be. I mean... I know Russia and India have decent ties, but even the Americans or Germans or others, if it weren't true, why aren't they calling it out? That's what I don't know. If it's not true, why don't they say, hold on, they didn't go up there. We didn't see anything on our radar or on our long range communication systems. They've filmed that in a basement in Delhi. Would it not be called? But maybe all the big powers are complicit, and WHO and WEF and all that kind of stuff as well. Maybe that's all part of it. What do you think, Conrad? Let me know. Okay, headed towards the news at 11. Stay where you are.
It's the 9 to Noon Show in association with the Northwest Truck Fest this Saturday and Sunday at Milford Mart, with live music, family fun, a truck convoy and much more.
Get Getting married. Men's wedding suit packages are now 20% off. Book before August 31st. Evolve Clothing. Letterkenny Retail Park. Terms and conditions apply.
Where's the party? Bundoran presents Ireland's biggest indoor dancing festival, the World Matchmaking Festival, in 4 venues for 10 days, 10 nights, September 29th to October 8th. Starring 35 bands, including the Tumbling Paddies, Derek Ryan, David James, Declan Nerney, plus blind date and speed dating. Book now for accommodation and entertainment package deals. Log on to showtours.ie or call 0818 300 888. Meet your match in Bundoran. Very special guest from Lisdoonvarna, the world famous matchmaker Willie Daly.
Strong demand drives prices at early weaning sales. For more in this week's Irish Farmers Journal, here's Paul Mooney.
Special weaning sales set positive tone for suckler farmers. Steadier beef prices, good news for store cattle trade. Eye in the Sky prompts thousands of farm payment queries. Vibrant trade for breeding ewes. Calls for farmers to be paid to reduce milk output. Latest straw prices and advice on chopping straw. Plus, in Irish Country Living, find out what your legal liability is when someone walks on your farm.
All inside this week's Irish Farmers Journal. On sale now.
For all the biggest names in cosmetics and makeup, visit McGee's Chemist Letterkenny. Choose from Lancome and Clarins, Blank Canvas, Inglot, Note and many more, with a great selection of gift sets also available in-store and online. For any cosmetics or makeup queries, just talk to our resident skincare consultants Mary or Gemma. McGee's Chemist, Main Street Letterkenny, and online at mcgees.ie. With the best, costs less.
It's the Northwest Truck Fest at Milford Mart this weekend. Highlights include truck lights display on Saturday at 9 and on Sunday it's the convoy of trucks through Milford at 5. This ad is sponsored by K&F Superwools 9139043.
Good morning to you. It is 11 o'clock. This is the 9 till noon show. We are going to take a break now for the news headlines, and it's Good Morning, Donna Marie.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. A Derry mother whose daughter died in February with the drug pregabalin in her system is calling for harsher sentences for drug dealers and urging young people to be careful. Pauline Duddy's daughter Jasmine had been receiving treatment in Gransha Hospital, but in February she was found unresponsive in a house in Gallia. Earlier this month, police said a number of packs of the drug pregabalin were missing at a time when there were 3 drug-related deaths in the northwest. A West Donegal councillor says over €7 million in funding could be lost for 4 pier projects in Donegal because of delays in securing foreshore licences from the Department of Agriculture, Food and the Marine. Donegal County Council says the work must be completed by November in order to get the funding drawn down. 4 Donegal childcare settings have been awarded €260,000 under the Building Blocks Improvement Scheme. Basic Childcare Centre, Clare's Little Stars Preschool, Crossroads and Killygorton Community Playgroup and Little Smarties have all been successful in the government initiative to provide greener, warmer services for children. A 22-year-old man has been arrested in relation to a security alert in Derry last year. On the 20th of November 2022, a vehicle was hijacked and a subsequent security alert followed in the Waterside area. The man has been arrested under the Terrorism Act today and is taken to the Serious Crime Suite at Musgrave Police Station to be questioned. Making the 9% VAT rate for the hospitality sector a permanent measure is crucial to saving 300,000 jobs across Ireland. That's the warning from business group IBEC as the tax is due to rise again to 13.5% next week. The government has ruled out keeping the lower 9% rate, which has already been extended 3 times, but IBEC say many businesses will be unable to shoulder the increase. And finally, only 2 vessels are currently available to patrol Irish territorial waters. There are concerns at how 2 ships can monitor fisheries, underwater cables and conduct drone interceptions. In 2016, the Navy had 8 ships, but it was forced to cut the number due to personnel shortages. Those are the latest headlines and next news updates at 12 o'clock. Until then, good morning.
The 9 till noon show brought to you by the Northwest Truck Fest, taking place this Saturday and Sunday in the grounds of Milford Mart, with proceeds to Donegal Down Syndrome.
An lá sira is far riamh, Cahar the Luchorja.
Seascan ó méid on Malia. De zip lína íontacha. Ocht rairc den chéad sco. Cera chup an café chun sus a glacha. Níla méidir isteach I bluis lán íontas. Trí vocala! Ein lá do chredta ó bháin. Agric an lá sira is fear a bheith a gut riamh ag discoverireland.ie agus buintanamh sira in ein lá ó bháin. Ó chur fáil ag fáilte Ireland.
Don't miss Johnny Brady live at the Highlands Hotel Glenties this Friday, 25th of August. Doors open at 8 with support from Conor O'Donnell before Johnny Brady takes to the stage. Admission €17.50. That's this Friday night at the Highlands Hotel Glenties.
Attention one and all. Easy Living Furniture is turning 25 and we're celebrating with an amazing anniversary sale this bank holiday weekend. Join us for our biggest sale ever, and with free delivery on all orders over £500, this is one sale not to miss. But hurry, as this amazing sale must end soon. Visit Easy Living Furniture, Crescent Link Retail Park. Easy Living Furniture, making homes great since 1998.
Teagasc are holding a Better Farm Whole Sheep Farm Walk on the farm of Paul Boyle, Timeen, Letterbarrow, County Donegal, F94VW74. This Thursday, 24th of August at 6:30 p.m. Focus on store lamb options and preparing for breeding. All are welcome.
Big news for back to school. The Centra Big Brand sale is now on, with big savings on big brands you love, like selected Kellogg cereal half price, like Rice Krispies now €3.12, Fitzgerald's Bagel Slim 6-pack €1 each, and Yoplait Petit Flou Big Pots and Froobs €2 each. So shop smart, feel good. Centra. Live every day.
The Northwest Truck Fest returns to Milford Mart this Saturday and Sunday, with live music from Norman Borland on Sunday afternoon from 2 till 4 p.m. This ad is sponsored by JD Recovery Services, Kilmacrennan and Donegal Town. 9139303.
Now, we're joined in studio by 4 guests. One of them's a very special guest, and the other 3 are here just really as the backing singers. Michelle Carlin, good morning to you first. How are you keeping?
I'm good, Greg.
It's great to have you with us. And we also have Sharon Murray, who's principal of St Mary's National School. Good morning to you.
Yeah, morning, Greg.
Thank you very much indeed. And Lorraine and Kaylee Carlin are with us as well. Lorraine and Kaylee, good morning to you.
Good morning, Greg.
Good morning, Kaylee. Is this your first time on the radio?
Yes.
Is it exciting?
It's exciting.
Yeah.
Who's that you've brought with you? Who's that on your lap?
Ted.
Ted. And what's that on Ted's head?
A mask.
It looks well. It suits him. Where did you get that?
You tell him what it's for.
What's it for? Yes, Katie, tell me what it's for. I don't know, Mum. You tell me.
It's the same mask as Kaylee wears.
Ah, okay. And we'll start with you, if that's all right, Lorraine. And we're going to be talking about a golf classic in the Ballybofey and Stranraer Golf Club. And I know there's lots of golfers out there and of all different handicaps and capabilities. You could be off scratch or plus 28, it doesn't matter. You can play golf on the 1st of September and support what we're going to be talking about now. So just to note, if there's any golfers in the house, take note of this. Right, so Lorraine, this is a fundraiser to raise awareness of XP, and talk to us a little bit about XP.
XP is a condition that Kaylee was diagnosed with a year ago. She's actually allergic to UV light. Daylight, night, no, sunlight.
These lights?
House lights,
yeah,
yes.
Everything, okay.
Everything has to be changed. So, really, it's sundown, she can go out at. So it leaves her skin aging. Whatever damage the skin does, ours repairs, but hers doesn't. So,
Okay.
She ends up with a lot of lesions on her face. Freckling started first. It was the freckles, which would be kind of normal in this country, but they got worse. I suppose everybody said, oh, look at her, she's lovely with all these freckles, and then a couple of people would say, what's wrong with her now?
Yeah, so in the
then I
beginning
kinda
it was the
realised
cutie
that,
freckles,
yes,
and then,
cute,
yeah.
Cute. But people would say, wouldn't they, Kaylee? What do people used to say to you? What?
As soon as the mics go down now, we'll not get Kaylee quiet. I don't know how she knows we're live, but anyway. And Lorraine, we spoke to a young guy and his mum recently who was also allergic to UV light, and it's by just coincidence.
Yes.
That's something completely different to what Kaylee has.
We're all looking for healthy, tasty
okay,
family.
Her skin condition leaves her that her lesions become cancerous. She has it's like a basal cell carcinomas on her face at present. But since we started protecting her from the sun, they have reduced, her skin has improved dramatically. She wears sun cream. There's no cure for Kaylee's condition.
Yeah.
There's no treatment, except there's a cream that we've got from Dublin that reduces the wee lesions.
Yes.
That's just a protection, I think, more than a treatment. I'm not sure.
Now, Kaylee's the only person diagnosed with XP in Ireland, so it's incredibly
North
rare.
and south, yeah.
So, but that doesn't mean that Kaylee's the only person affected by it. That's just the only person.
There's 100 in England, and we've been over in England with them. But it's very, very unique. It's like 1 in a million, but really there's only 1,000 in the world has it.
And is it uncomfortable for Kaylee?
Yeah, it does. She's really resilient. She'll wear all her masks. She has to wear masks, protective mask all the time, gloves. She gets her sun cream on every 2 hours. But summertime was sweating.
Of course, and then not maybe seeing other people, being able to do other things. It's difficult, but she's a brave wee girl. Michelle, what's your role in all of this?
Well, I am Kaylee's dad's cousin, and my role in this is really just kind of help them raise awareness for the condition. So
now you've got a folder, so I think you're the one to have on board. If you want someone to organise something, I think you're the lady to go to.
I don't know. I have a few helpers as well.
Okay.
So just we kind of talked about this in the early stages when we found out about the diagnosis, and mainly it was people were asking how they could help, get involved to help Kaylee and help the family, help Lorraine and Adrian. And then kind of a few months ago then we kind of talked about it and decided to do a fundraiser for the group, Action for XP, who are based in London. They have been a massive help since the diagnosis, massive support. They've provided all the equipment that Kaylee has needed so far. We found it difficult to get the supports here in Ireland because it is so rare. The health professionals are still kind of educating themselves and familiarising themselves with the condition. And then the school as well, who Kaylee was only in 2 weeks when she got diagnosed. So it was massive changes the school had to make, and they've been amazing throughout, and we can't thank you enough for
and that's it. Sharon, principal of St Mary's NS, schools step up to the plate, and yours has as well, and it's to make it a safe and inclusive place for everyone. So what have you implemented, or what changes have you made to accommodate Kaylee best?
Yeah, so literally we've always taken the lead from Mum, because as I said, Mum was just learning. There was no knowledge, no expertise in Ireland for onward help. So we were just sort of working very closely with Mum, and as Mum would work with the organisations over in the UK, she would feed back best practice and what we should be doing. But I suppose last year we were just all trying to grapple and put things in place as best we could. So Kaylee has access now to an SNA that obviously looks after her care needs for her sun cream, and making sure that before she leaves the classroom she's completely covered. Last year, unfortunately, to make sure that Kaylee could learn in a safe environment, we had to have the blinds down for a good part of the year. Now, obviously, moving forward, we've applied for emergency works. So we're at present getting UV blocks on every single one of every pane of glass in the school will be covered by UV blocks, so that basically when Kaylee's in any classroom or any place in the school and we have our UV meter and we take a reading, we will see that Kaylee, that Kaylee is, we know what the safe range is, and that we always make sure that Kaylee is obviously in a safe area. So her SNA would be regularly taking readings throughout the day. But look, I applied to the Department of Education for emergency works, and like anything, it's a tough battle. It's a long laborious process. But yeah, we were successful. We got all the funding. So we have external shelters being built at the minute as well in the school. So we have 4 shelters. So basically they have glass elements with UV blocks. So during the summertime or when the weather is very, very good, Kaylee can go into those areas. She is outdoors with fresh air, but she's protected. Because last year the most difficult thing was every time Kaylee goes outside the classroom, so when she goes out to play at break time or goes out for PE, she has to wear her mask, she has to be completely covered, her gloves, everything has to be on. So you can imagine in the summertime when it was really, 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 really warm, it was so uncomfortable. But you know what, we managed sports day, we managed school tours, we managed everything with a bit of imagination. But like that there, it's just a really, really close communication with home and school.
Lorraine, how you know, when you're dealing with a diagnosis, and I think sometimes, well, I think all the time it'd be easier if it was yourself rather than someone you care for. It can be really isolating, and especially with something that's so rare and the information and other people affected seem so far away. How important has it been for the likes of the school to be so accommodating and to say that, you know, it's really important that Kaylee gets as close to the same experience as other children do? There must be great comfort that can be taken from that, is there?
There's no words to describe what the school has done for us, because she's with them more than she is with me in the school term. And I mean, they are looking about her 100%. I mean, when she comes in, I couldn't ask for better, because when we left Dublin that day, when we got the diagnosis, I thought Kaylee was never going to be able to go outside again, do anything outside again. And as for the XP support group, helped us get the mask and all. And
do I need to switch these lights off?
No, they're perfect.
Are they? Okay, yeah, go ahead, sorry.
No, that's what the checked it.
As soon as I saw you take that out, I was getting...
But having this is makes an awful difference, because if we go into a restaurant to eat and instead of, you know, just check is it safe for her, if it's not safe we can move to another area, and the school was the same there. They didn't have to have all the blinds
and it
down.
saves you having to guess or second guess. It gives you the
and like she knows what time of night she can go out without a mask, and that's she's very adamant about that.
Kids are amazing, aren't they? They're so resilient and adaptive.
Yes.
And I'm sure that's with the other children in the school as well, Sharon.
Yeah, but you know what? We got Kaylee to explain to everyone, and she just said, I'm allergic to sunlight. And then that's when Ted came in, and Ted was sort of a way of showing the children that, you know, Ted's like me, and this is sort of trying to show the kids, I suppose, Ted wears this because of this condition just like me. And kids are very black and white, and the kids would, before we got the UV meter, the blinds had to come down, and then we got the UV meter. It made things so much easier. But like that there, that was all through London, and Lorraine having to travel over and back to London to get these things. But you know, the kids would be very quick to say to us, you didn't put the, you know, the senior kids would be like, Kaylee's coming down, put down the blinds.
And that requires a bit of buy-in from parents as well. So it's a whole community response. So, Michelle, talk to us about this golf classic that's taking place in Ballybofey and Stranraer Golf Club, which I played once when I had the time to do that kind of thing.
So that's enough. You can join us.
Yeah, I played quite well there, actually, if I do say so myself. But talk to me about the fundraising and who's involved and all that type of stuff. It's over to you now, Michelle.
Yeah, so the golf classic is going to take place in Ballybofey and Stranraer Golf Club next Friday, the 1st of September. We really only got a chance to launch it in the last 2 weeks, and the support has been phenomenal. It's open to all levels of golfers. I'm not too up on the whole golf scene or anything like that there, but I have 2 helpers, Michael Carlin and Shane Lafferty, so they're taking charge of that. And yeah, so you know, we've had a massive support from that, and I want to thank everyone for their sponsorship and the businesses for their generosity and everyone getting involved.
Now people can still you have the support of Finn Valley Harvesting.
Yes.
So fair play to them getting involved. Now there are still sponsoring opportunities for teas and things like that. So in other words, if there's a company listening, there's no one in it plays golf. Yeah. You can still get your name sponsorship up on a tee, or find some other ways to support this. So who did they contact about that?
I might leave my number here with Highland Radio.
And they know ours, so we can pass it on.
And Revolut and PayPal, we're accepting donations, so if anyone knows any of us, any of the family or anything like that there, they can get in touch, and all donations are greatly appreciated. We have another gold sponsor as well, Macklehoney's.
Fair play to Macklehoney's.
So the prizes are all being sponsored by McElhaney's. We're very grateful for their support as well, and as I said, just all the help and all the support and generosity from the community.
Now, teams are for €100, and in this day and age, €25 green fees is really excellent value. So you can get an opportunity to play Ballybofainstone, or if you're not a member, for €25, just get a team together, and you also get a €5 discount. A €5 meal voucher is included in there. There's lots of prizes and what have you, and you're helping a really important cause, because I'd imagine, Lorraine, you know, when something is incredibly rare, you might find yourself wondering, well, is anyone working on a new cream, or is there anyone working on something that might, you know, so for you, particularly as a mum, it's kind of frustrating, isn't it? So anything you can do to draw attention to this, the better.
It makes an awful difference, because we had nobody when we left Dublin, that Crumlin Hospital that day, we had nobody to talk to, because nobody knew anything about it. So then when I got settled and got myself head around it, got in contact with the support group, and they were phenomenal.
Yeah.
Just even to ask questions like about what they do on a daily basis. So it was great to hear, and then we got all the equipment from the XP Action group.
Brilliant. Okay. And there's people of all ages involved in the
There
XP
is,
Action
yes.
group, isn't it?
Yeah,
Isn't there?
there
okay,
is,
people.
yeah.
So you kind of get an idea of what.
She's probably one of the youngest at the minute, and then there's older people in their 40s that has it as well.
Yeah.
Because when you do Google it, it's not a nice diagnosis.
No one needs
but
to.
it's actually
shouldn't
not,
Google anything.
No, it's they want to actually change that, but they're not. The Wikipedia won't change it for them.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
That's interesting.
Yes, because there is no there's no age limit to it. It's not a.
Okay. Right, okay. And Sharon, obviously, in fairness, the powers that be, as difficult as they can be to engage with from time to time, with the nagging, they came up trumps, which is good for you in terms of organising and facilitating for next year.
Yeah, and
well, this year it's next week, right?
Yeah, but actually, look, you know, as I said, as soon as we got the paperwork, the applications were like the building work only commenced over the summer, so it's a very long process. But yeah, I'm quite tenacious, to be quite honest, when I put my mind to it. So I think just moving forward, it's upskilling, and you know, as I said, through Lorraine, we can link in with the UK, and our staff then can take part in CPD, because it's important that all our staff know about Keely's condition, and you know, if Keely's visiting another class on a day, or a different teacher's on yard duty, we all need to know what we're doing, because as I said, Lorraine entrusts Keely to us every single day, and you know, that's we don't shy away from that. Like, you know, she's one of her own when she's in school, but no, we've a great team and a great community. So yeah, starting senior infants now next Thursday. So yeah, all exciting.
Fair play, Lorraine. From all your work colleagues in St. Joseph's Hospital, we are all behind Kaylee.
Thanks very much.
Okay. Please name the school. So fantastic, that wee girl being looked after so well. Great training for children at school to have such thoughts for others, indeed. And I just wish adults would take the lead from children at times. The school is St. Mary's National School, which is based where, Sharon?
Yeah, we're in Castlefin, in the town of Castlefin.
And Sharon, I mentioned at the beginning, is the principal of St. Mary's National School. Now, if you want to book a tea time, you contact the golf club directly on 074 91 31093. We'll retain that number here as well, and that means you and 3 of your friends or enemies can play in the Golf Classic Ballybofainstone Golf Club on the 1st of September 2023. McElhaney's, Finn Valley Harvesting are amongst those backing it already, and if you want to get in contact with us, if you're a business and you want to sponsor a prize or a tea or something, we can pass on the contact details for you. Michelle, anything else you want to add in relation to that side of things?
Just thank you for having us.
Thanks
for the support. We're not going to release the figure yet, but we've been overwhelmed just by how much support we've received, and the generosity, and it just illustrates how highly thought of Keely is.
And Lorraine and
Lorraine, and Adrian and
Keely
the family.
Thank you to everybody.
Kaylee?
Thank you.
That's okay. Is there anyone you want to say hello to? Do you want to say hello to anyone in the family, at school, teachers?
Who's having a party tomorrow?
Everyone?
My cousin Aiden's having a party tomorrow.
Oh, wow. Eamon, did you say?
Aiden.
Okay.
My cousin.
Brilliant. Are you going? Excellent. And you're going to have lots of fun, aren't you? Okay, that's something to look forward to. Are you looking forward to going into back to school?
Yeah.
Yes, that's the right thing to say in front of the principal. Go on, Kaylee, what?
My auntie is 40.
Oh, well, she's going to love you for saying that.
The weekend.
Oh, and what's her name, Auntie?
Auntie Margaret.
Auntie Margaret, who's 40. Now, don't get angry with me, Margaret. It was Kaylee that threw you under the bus.
It's a busy weekend of partying.
It is. Okay, well, listen, enjoy it. Fair play, Sharon, to you and to everyone at the school. And keep up with that tenacity. Yeah, of course, as well. Lorraine?
Thank you very much, Greg.
Wasn't I right? There was no point being nervous.
No.
Exactly. You just
You'd have seen me earlier.
You just put Kaylee on your lap for support and she did a brilliant job. And I'm going to get some advice as how you keep her quiet once we've finished. Michelle, fair play to you as well.
Thank you.
Is there anything else that we've missed that you want to add just whilst we have the opportunity? Of course, you've thanked everyone. No figures yet, but I think you've been really impressed
I think
with.
just, we know we've discussed this before we started the fundraising, and really the whole aim of it is to raise awareness for Kaylee's condition. There could be someone sitting somewhere else listening to this online, maybe at a different part of the world, and looks at the photographs and might see the lesions and think, this could be something like that. This condition does exist.
They're relatively quiet at the moment, but they
There's
have.
no Northern Ireland or Southern Ireland, as we know.
Yeah, but in terms of her reaction to light, it's quite calm at the moment compared to where it can be.
Was,
exactly.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
and also, just actually, where can we direct people for a useful source of information? Rather than, as you say, Google, straight to the XP. Is it
Action for XP? Yeah.
Action for XP.
That's Q bar there. If you. Or Q reader, if you actually do that, it comes into the support group and give you the best information.
Just an example, like there's only 100. They support 100 families within the UK, and they've taken Kaylee under their wing. And for every €50 that they receive, they'll provide an information pack and TED to each child, just as a way of information and familiarising themselves with the condition. So every diagnosed person, for each €50 will receive it. Now there is only 100 families, so they don't, it's not a massive charity or a massive group, but they're very
active and all,
very
and supportive.
active.
But through awareness like this, you never know when the next person.
This is it. Like it started off with some very small freckles that normally is normal, and then just gets bigger and bigger.
All right then, so listen, thanks so very much indeed for calling in. Kaylee, thank you.
Thank you.
Enjoy the party tomorrow. Say hello to Aidan for me, will you? Okay, good stuff. Your favourite cousin, is he? Well, there's probably lots of them, we'll not say that. Sharon Murray, thank you so very much indeed. That's Principal of St Mary's National School, and Michelle Carlin as well. And I think I thanked Katie's mum, Lorraine. Okay, that is a golf classic, Ballabafane Roller Golf Club, the 1st of September, just around the corner. And the more people support, obviously, the more that is raised for awareness and raising awareness and support for people affected by XP. It's Xeroderma pigmentosus, is it? Pigmentosum, okay. Back with more shortly.
Ireland has a brand new energy supplier, UNO Energy. Join us and you'll know instantly you're with the right one. That's because, as well as having an app that lets you see how much energy you're using so you know where to cut down, you can also save up to €508 per year compared to our other suppliers' standard rates. With UNO Energy, you just know. Visit unoenergy.ie. Comparing UNO discount fixed rate, EAB €1,765, and the average of our other supplier standard rates as per CRU July EAB report. Supplier pricing may change. T's and C's apply.
The county's #1 talk show, The 9 till Noon Show on Highland Radio.
It's the 9 till Noon Show in association with the Northwest Truck Fest this Saturday and Sunday at Milford Mart, with live music, family fun, a truck convoy and much more.
Join me, David James, on the Jive Time Show this Friday, live from the Easy Living Furniture Store at the Crescent Link Retail Park in Derry. Easy Living is turning 25 and they're celebrating with an amazing anniversary sale. We will have great music and chat, so come along and join us and see for yourself the incredible value Easy Living has to offer in their biggest ever sale with all-time lows on quality furniture.
At Cherrymore Kitchens and Bedrooms, we are now operating out of one new state-of-the-art state-of-the-art showroom in Donegal Town. And we invite you to visit our new 5,000 square foot Donegal Town showroom to discover the latest eye-catching designs. Remember, at Cherrymore, you're dealing directly with the manufacturer, which means high-quality kitchens at factory prices. Start planning your dream kitchen or bedroom by calling Cherrymore on 074 9725 822. Cherrymore, 25 years delivering value, quality and service all over Ireland.
At last, a technology that's impossible to ignore. Here we have a device that grabs people's attention. Introducing a technology that's truly impossible to miss. Imagine a technology where it's impossible to scroll past your ads. Welcome to radio, advertising that's unscrollable. Visit radiocenterireland.ie to see what radio can do for your product or brand.
Highland Radio time checks with Expressway. Travel Route 32 from Letterkenny to Dublin when you book online and travel for less. Expressway, bringing you the time at...
All right, the time is 28 minutes past 11. A caller says there must be some wonderful reason why these people want to get to the moon. Otherwise, these countries would feed and look after their people. Kind of reminds me of the Tower of Babel. Irish journalism that does not point out the elephant in the room here, namely that politicians are acting against the express will of their citizens. I really don't understand how we can't have a referendum on immigration. I think the findings of that might be quite interesting. Another caller says, how are we allowing unvetted people to vote? This is crazy. How are we allowing this to happen? The question needs to be asked. And again, and I'm not taking a position opposite to yours. I'm not vetted. I've never been vetted. Have you? I wonder, has the texter ever been vetted? I'd never understood where this vetting thing comes from, because what would it actually discover? These people are... there is an element of vetting as they arrive into the country, but I don't know what Garda vetting at this point would... But anyway, again, always open to an education. 086 60 25,000. Okay, we're going to take just have to catch up on one more quick break here before we welcome our next guest onto the show.
The 9 till noon show brought to you by the Northwest Truck Fest, taking place this Saturday and Sunday in the grounds of Milford Mart, with proceeds to Donegal Down syndrome.
The bakers are talking about their kids heading back to school, says old Mr. Brennan. They'll need the grades if they want to grow up to be bakers, just like their mums and dads, says I. I see the circumference of the hole in the bagel, or calculating the hypotenuse of the perfect triangular toastie. Hypotenuse, says I. The mathematician's bread and butter. Brennan's. Today's bread today.
Where's the party? Bundoran presents Ireland's biggest indoor dancing festival, the World Matchmaking Festival, in 4 venues for 10 days, 10 nights, September 29th to October 8th, starring 35 bands including the Tumbling Paddies, Derek Ryan, David James, Declan Nerney, plus Blind Date and Speed Dating. Book now for accommodation and entertainment package deals. Log on to showtours.ie or call 0818 300 888. Meet your match in Bundoran. Very special guest from Lisdoonvarna, the world-famous matchmaker, Willie Daly.
What's your dream job? Lawyer? Software developer? Engineer? Or criminologist? Do you want to develop renewable energies? Create the next great drama? Or improve people's health? Anything is possible at Ulster University, where you can study in the heart of Derry, Londonderry. Clearing places are now available to help you realise your ambitions. It's time to say hello, future. Apply now for September 2023 at ulster.ac.uk/clearing.
Did you know there are more places than ever to top up your TFI Leap card? Well, now you do. You can buy and top up TFI Leap cards in over 2,500 agents, including all post offices. You can also top up your TFI Leap card with the Leap Top Up app on iPhone and Android. And remember, young adult and student Leap cards can only be ordered online. To download the app and find your nearest agent, go to leapcard.ie.
Do you have your ticket yet?
€2,500 every Friday.
Plus a chance to win big.
10,000 cash money.
Get your ticket today.
Go to highlandradio.com. Summer's just got better.
Ooh.
Right, we were talking to Liam earlier on, who was told by his Dublin-based insurance company that they were no longer going to provide insurance for his static mobile home because he was resident in Northern Ireland and the unit was based in Donegal. They did advise him to contact their Northern Irish office, but he was a bit unsure about that because if it came down to a claim, he would like the insurance to be provided in the same country as the mobile home is. Well, anyway... Hi, Greg. Just listening to your show this morning. We, Hannon Green Limited Insurance Brokers, have arranged cover recently for clients in Northern Ireland who have a static mobile home or caravan based in the Republic of Ireland. These clients also had been contacted by their previous UK provider to say they no longer were able to facilitate in the Republic of Ireland. You can pass on our details, or alternatively, we'd be happy to contact you, listener, to see if we can be of assistance. They're based at 21 Chapel Street, Carndonagh, and the number is 074 937 4477. Fair play. That's Hannon Green Limited Insurance Brokers, who will be able to help with the insurance in that case, all being well. We'll retain those details in case any of you are looking for them. Reinsurance. Caller says he got the same letter from Dublin regarding the same insurance company and took it to another broker in Letterkenny who looked into it, and it transpired the letters were actually incorrect due to an error in the information. This was sorted through the broker and insurance was reinstated. So there are solutions out there. Thank you so much for getting in touch. Any chance we could get 30 minutes free parking in Ballabafay, asks a caller. Greg, that skip's still on the footpath in Letterkenny. Lads and lassies, please. There are people who have mobility issues or have difficulties in getting around a skip on a footpath in a main thoroughfare. Hi, just asking about court cases. I'm waiting on a case since 2018, taking a car dealer to court. Any idea why it's taking so long? Solicitor says there's a big backlog. Must be some cases if it's waiting this long. Okay, must be. Right, Ewan joins me now. Hi, Ewan.
Hello, Greg.
Good to chat to you.
How are you?
I'm good. You're asking a question. What's happening with the graveyard in Leck? It looks like there are about 6 spaces left and then it's full. Talk to us about what you've spotted, what you're concerned about.
Well, I tell you, I go to the graveyard every day. I see the rosary DC once a day out there. I do all the graves once a week.
Mm-hmm.
And lately there's been a lot of people passed away and a lot of the graves have been filled up. But what I noticed there now this last while, there's the last footpath, but I knew how you need the footpath to walk down when you're taking the remains down.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're on the last one now at the minute, and I've heard this morning actually, and there's 8, what would you call it?
There's
8 graves or double graves just left now at the minute, and there's no more footpath.
Wow.
That would mean that people would have to walk on the grass or the dirt to try and take remains down, and now the graveyard's filling up fairly quick.
So you're asking then, is there a plan for another footpath to extend at Leck, or is it a case that they've run out of space and that's why there's only the one footpath left? Or what's your question?
They have plenty of room, Greg.
Right, okay.
They have plenty of room because the upper part is still yet, there's probably another couple of years on it yet. But there's no footpath made since COVID, I think. Mm-hmm. And we're on the last one now, I think. If there's about the next 8 felt, we're just on grass. And it's, at the minute, the way the graves are facing, it's very steep. When it was the older part of it, up until about a couple of years ago, they changed them going across side roads, which was ridiculous, I think. But because the ones that was in there at the beginning was looking straight across at St. Junan's Cathedral. Mm-hmm. Now they're sitting as the priest. I asked the priest why would they turn to the right. He says because that's where the sun comes up in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's ridiculous. But at the minute we're on the last footpath now. At the minute there's actually 2 burials there, Saturday and Monday. And that new part, and there's already 2 there, so there's 8 left now. And when they're felt, there's no more footpaths. Yeah. You just have to walk in the grass, which is as dangerous with the concrete, but it's going to be 10 times worse on grass.
So there's 2 questions here. When's another footpath going in, so it's safe to take the remains to their final resting place? But you've also asked what are the plans for a new graveyard. What's triggered that question also?
What? No, I know there's a new graveyard. There's a new graveyard. What do you call it? As far as I know, there's ground bought for a new graveyard between New Lake and Old Lake. There is property bought, but that will not. Hopefully, we'll not need that for a few years yet. But the main concern is, at the minute now, is a New Lake where there's no more footpaths. We're on the last one now to go down. Once that's filled, there's no more at the minute. The last one was made about, as far as I know, it's about 4 years ago.
All right, okay. Well, listen, we'll make our inquiries as well, Ewan, to find out what the story is or if there's any update. But thank you for contacting us and raising the issue.
Yeah, and just when you're there, Greg, just if I could say, somebody had 2 trees down on the way, and they say you're coming up from Oatfield there on the right, left-hand side of the road.
Yes.
One of them was actually lying over for the last 2 months. I don't know why the council didn't pull it back and just straighten it up and put a post on to let it grow again. They just left it lying for the last 2 months. And there's another one then about 3 or 4 trees up. Somebody had it there the weekend, and that's lying over as well. And they're fairly well matured now. So if they pull them back, I think they'll still grow. But they seem to, I don't know, just they passed it. It's only a matter of putting on a stake, pull it back, put a stake on, and have the thing straightened up again.
All right, you think it's savable. All right, Ewan, thank you very much indeed. That is Ewan there. Any comments on that? 08660 25,000. A caller says, listening to the story there about a girl looking for housing and blaming Ukrainians, people need to stop blaming them and stop blaming government and landlords. I get you, but I also get why people feel frustrated. And we often direct our frustration or our anger in the wrong directions. It's a human condition, but it's understandable, and it's how that person feels. But as you may have heard your comment there, and I might consider, is there another way of thinking as well? Hi, Greg. I'm writing this letter as I feel I need to express how I feel in relation to getting work. I've trained as a healthcare assistant during the pandemic. However, due to this disaster that we're facing, my work experience was cut short, as was other students' work experience. I had only done a month of work experience in a nursing home. I've tried to fulfill work in this area, but the nursing homes are looking for a year's experience. I feel that I'm being discouraged against. I have obtained the qualifications. I worked hard to achieve this, but have difficulty getting employment. During the pandemic, retired healthcare staff were asked to return to this area of work. Now they wouldn't have had any experience in this field of work since they retired, which could have been for several years. But it was okay for them to get work in this area. I think nursing homes should provide guidance and support to healthcare assistants. The more practice a person gets, the better they'll become. For example, using a hoist. If current staff in nursing homes can do up-to-date training such as first aid, patient moving and handling, fire safety, I don't see why if a person who is fully qualified should be discriminated against when that person is determined in working in that area. I think that if a person like myself with little experience, why they can't work with a senior healthcare assistant until they get more guidance and support when doing certain tasks for the first couple of months. I don't see why that would be a problem, as well as to do any up-to-date training in any job sector. Guidance would always be given. How am I meant to get experience if not given the opportunity? Working with the elderly in their homes currently is not possible as I do not drive. I've also applied for other positions such as shop work, but no satisfaction to anything I applied to. I feel so distressed. I don't know what to do. I feel anxious nearly every day. I'm a hard-working, caring person. I would just like to be given the chance. And that comes in from an anonymous listener. We have their details there, but you can imagine the frustration they're feeling there. And maybe as you were listening to that, if you have any insights or feedback, you might get in touch with us. I checked with the diocese office. When I say I mean Caroline, or maybe it's a listener, I'm not sure. But anyway, someone checked with the diocese office, and there are plans to do the relative work, and burials will continue in Lex Cemetery. So the plans are afoot for a footpath there, it would seem. Thank you to whoever sent that in to us. Was it you checked that? It was you. Okay. So we've got that officially from the diocese office there. Anne-Marie McGrath on Facebook says, great interview highlighting Kaylee's condition. Amazing teamwork to support Kaylee living her best life. And a couple of hearts there as well. I'm an SNA and I'm so delighted that the school principal is doing so much to make this child's life the best it could be while in the school. Indeed, it's really encouraging and heartwarming, isn't it? Morning, Greg. Please give a special mention for my darling wife, Anne-Marie Maley in Letterkenny. It's our 16th wedding anniversary. Lots of love, Paul and Eleanor. Please play Maid of Gold by Derek Ryan. Please pass on to John and David Show, where they'll probably be able to pay that. But, you know, you don't need Derek Ryan to show your love. You've done it right there through your own words, but we will make others aware of that. Congratulations to David Cafferkey from Letterkenny and Laura Cairns from Dunnamana. They're getting married today in the Silver Tassie. All our love and happiness to you from David's sister Andrea, and Michael, nephews Emmett, Ryan, Callum, Mickey and Jack, and also Anya, Marie and Ella. Have a wonderful day, David and Laura, and I think you're getting a good day for it as well. The odd shower, perhaps. We haven't seen one yet here. And also, of course, the team at the Silver Tassie will look after you really well. The Irish States wants to give Ukrainians the vote as they would vote to join NATO and end Irish neutrality. I don't know how we can group an entire country in together as if the Ukrainians are coming to take away our neutrality. I don't get the fear there, but listen, as I say, that's your view. People who are resident here, even if they aren't Irish citizens, have always been able to vote in these elections. So if there are plans to do that, well then, they've been afoot for a very long time. India exploring space, but Varadkar's Ireland gave India over €400 million of an aid package to them. Check this out and explain this to the people of Donegal whose houses are crumbling. I couldn't find any reference to an aid package, financial aid package for India, to be honest with you. I know we did send 600 or 700 ventilators to India, or at least we had planned to during the pandemic, but I can't get any reference to Ireland providing financial aid to India. So if you can send me a link, definitely more than happy to read it out and to highlight it if that's what is happening. But as I say, I couldn't find any reference to it on the internet. Okay, I've got to take a break. Stay with us here on the 9 till Noon Show.
It's the 9 till Noon Show in association with the Northwest Truck Fest this Saturday and Sunday at Milford Mart with live music, family fun, a truck convoy and much more.
Looking for the best staycation ever? Well, you're in luck. We teamed up with Vulture Ireland and asked the public what their favourite staycation activities are in Sligo, and they didn't disappoint. Colin texts that there is such amazing history on display at Drumcliff Church. It's well worth a day out. Betty said she loved her day with the sheepdogs at Atlantic Sheepdogs. It was such a unique experience. And Owen texts to say the Sligo Folk Park was a wonderful experience and perfect for anyone interested in Irish history. Deirdre said her husband loved their day in Strandhill. He went surfing with Atlantic Surf School and used the amazing new facilities at the National Surf Centre. And she relaxed in the yoga seaweed baths, while Aoife said her kids loved the half-day sea safari with Enniscrone boat tours learning about the birds and wildlife. Plan your best vacation ever at discoverireland.ie and experience the feeling of a holiday all in one day.
Welcome to the Spa at Orchids, one of Europe's largest spas at the Holyrood Hotel, Bundoran. Discover tranquility in our Japanese-themed garden, boasting 7 treatment rooms, seaweed baths, and a secret garden with an outside hot tub and sauna. Now, let me take you to the heart of Bundoran, where you'll find the Holyrood Hotel Spa and Leisure Centre. Don't miss out on our exclusive midweek hotel specials. More information at holyroodhotel.com.
Colm here from Sweeney's Home Value Builders Providers, Lettermack Award and Derrybeg. Are you starting a new build or planning a renovation anytime soon? Why not give us a call today for quotation for all your building needs? Whether it's steel or insulation, timber or slates, we have it all at Sweeney's Builders Providers, Lettermack Award and Derrybeg. Call 074 95 44 114. And now with delivery all across Donegal, at Sweeney's Builders Providers, we have it all.
If you've a free travel pass, remember to use it on the Expressway network. It's the perfect way to catch up with friends, see your grandchildren and those you love. So use your free travel pass today. You can also book a seat online in advance at expressway.ie and get priority boarding for just €2 per journey. It's just the ticket to enjoy more.
It's the Northwest Truck Fest at Milford Mart this weekend. Highlights include Truck Lights display on Saturday at 9, and on Sunday it's the convoy of trucks through Milford at 5. This ad is sponsored by K&F Superwools, 9139043.
All right, still a fair bit of interest out there in the story as it relates to RTE. And we were reading today that Minister Simon Harris says he won't ask his constituents to spend any more money on RTE until a reform plan is delivered, as TV licence revenue plummets by nearly €6 million. He was asked if the government was taking too long to tackle long-term funding reform for RTE as it considers interim funding for the broadcaster in the upcoming budget. The Irish Daily Mail reported last Saturday that a bailout for the broadcaster worth €25 million looks set to be approved in the budget, but that no funds will be forthcoming before Christmas. Mr Harris said yesterday, before I ask any of my constituents in County Wicklow to spend any more money in relation to any of these matters, we need to see a very clear reform plan for RTE, and that is not just about Ryan Tubridy. So €25 million in the budget looks set to be diverted to RTE. Do any of you have a view on that? What do you think? 086 60 25,000, 086 60 25,000, or give us a call on 07491 25,000. And just to remind you, many of you do listen to this show overnight. We go, was it 1 o'clock or 12, Caroline? I'm 1 o'clock. Monday to Thursday, and then something else on Friday that you don't know. Fantastic bit of producing there. Anyway, we can guarantee you Monday to Thursday it's at 1. And if you're listening overnight, good morning to you. And you can always text in 086 60 25,000 when you're listening to the podcast as well, by the way, just so you're still involved in the conversation. Right, I want to say good morning to Yvonne. Hi, Yvonne.
How's it going, Greg?
I'm going okay, Yvonne. Now, you were like many out there. You're looking to buy a new house. Is it your first house, or just switching from where you're at the moment? Yvonne, you're actually... Sorry, no, I think you're affected by mica, aren't you? Or defective concrete.
Aye, we're affected by mica. Still not very far on the scheme through various reasons. But I just wanted to highlight the fact, Greg, that if we were looking at a house, a semi-detached house, and in order to get a mortgage for it, you have to have a mica test on the property. So if you do this test and you pay for the test and stuff, and it comes back that there's high amounts of mica and defective concrete blocks, you're down the money. You're down the yeah. So anyway.
So just to be clear, Yvonne, I wasn't aware of this because it's not an area I've looked into greatly. So in other words, if a house comes up in the market and you go, right, we might put a bid in for that, it's the responsibility of the purchaser to pay the thousands of €1,000 to test if it has defective concrete.
Exactly.
So if it does have high levels, you're out the money.
Exactly.
Right, okay.
So what I like, because I have spoke to a couple of estate agents, and I've said to them, look, this is not fair. It has to be, the onus should be on the person that's selling the house. Obviously, it'd be more beneficial to them to have a test done with, with no defective blocks in it, because they'll get that money back,
Because they can ask for exactly, because they can ask for a higher rate. I wonder, are people sort of exploiting the heat in the market in that they're saying, look, some agent's going to come along and pay for this. Why should we? Because there's so few houses for so many people that want them. But that's not really fair. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, exactly. And as well, on some estate agents, there is things marked saying mica test passed, but there's not a test done. It's like a visual inspection and stuff. There's not an actual, which is very misleading to the person buying the house. But it just leaves, like, it's okay if you're a cash buyer, you can go and you don't need to get this for the mortgage, but you're leaving yourself wide open. But it's just the fact that if we look at a couple of houses and we have to pay, like, is it $7,000 to get a mica test done? I know that's what we paid, but if we had to do that, like, for every house, what sense is that, Greg? It should be, especially now in Donegal, the way things are, that if you're putting your house up for sale, you should have it tested and have your papers and everything stating that the house is not defective.
Should it be even be maybe a legal requirement that, particularly in Donegal and particularly given the prevalence of defective concrete, should it be a requirement that someone
100%.
selling a house should have to be able to give some level of assurance that there isn't defective concrete? Now, I think most, if they could, and it was the forever home, might try and get the reassurance rather than taking someone else's word for it. But this is an area of this whole crisis that really does need a little bit of attention, I think, a lot of attention, in fact.
Yeah, it's absolutely. I mean, I can't believe that it hasn't been highlighted yet. But another aspect of it, we went to look at a house as well, Greg, that the bank was selling. And we went in, and there was a few cracks and stuff. But anyway, I said to the person, the estate agent that was selling the house, I says, so the bank's selling it. I says, so obviously they've tested this house. And she says, oh no, they don't do no testing. And I says, well, how are you going to get a mortgage if they haven't got testing done? Oh, she says, it really would suit a cash buyer. So I just my mouth hit the ground. I looked at my husband and I thought, what's happening here? Like, is there any common sense happening?
So, Yvonne, in your experience, I mean, you'll have looked at an awful lot. I presume you'd have looked at a number of properties. Are any of them coming back with house has been tested and doesn't have mica or defective concrete? Or is it generally, you know what I mean? Obviously, it's going to be a feature of adverts, or at least should be. Has it been your experience uniquely that you would have to pay if you wanted to satisfy yourself there was no defective concrete, that you have to pay, or do some houses have that assurance already?
No, you have to pay. If you want a mortgage, Greg, you have to prove, you have to actually have a test done.
Yeah, okay. A listener says, we sold our house in January and we paid for the mica test, but that's not your experience.
No, that's not our experience in the last maybe 6 months. And from speaking to other people as well, Greg, it's the same situation. You know, it's absolutely ridiculous.
I mean, it is a mica tax, isn't it, really? I mean, it's a premium that we're having to pay that, you know, they're not paying in Louth.
Yeah, like you're not going to have to, you're not going to have to, you have to pay for this. You have to have a mica test in order to secure a mortgage, Greg.
Yeah. And it can't be visual. I presume the mortgage companies want an actual core test done on the property.
An actual core test done.
Yeah.
Which makes sense, Greg.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
You know, because we've had ours inspected before we bought ours, you know, the defective house. And, like, you know, everything was okay there. And sure, look at the mess it turned out.
So, how does this work then? As I say, because the property market's still quite hot here. Say there is a semi-detached house for sale in Bridgend or something. Like, if 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 people are interested in buying it, they're not all going to get a test. So the house would be like a block of cheese by the time everyone had bought it. So I wonder how that's working. It's well, I'm not trying to be funny, but you know what I mean. I wonder how that works its way out, Yvonne.
Yeah, it's a good point, Greg. It's an excellent point. Yeah, I don't know that answer, you know, but I think the state agents should all come on and, you know, explain why they're taking on houses that are so obvious that they have mica. And by the way, Greg, they have been sold with mica in them. I mean, I know of houses that have been sold and there's mica in them. Absolutely ludicrous.
Listen, there's people caught out by that all the time. Maybe, hopefully now it's not happening as much, but you do still see houses advertised that might have mica or what have you. But there are people now who bought a house, and you know everything you have to go through to fund it, Yvonne, that bought a house in the last couple of years and then find out they have it. I mean, it's devastating for everyone, but particularly, you know, buying in the midst of this crisis and then finding out you're a victim, it's heartbreaking.
Yeah, Greg, you do not want anybody to go through this.
No.
You know, you do, especially young couples starting out. I mean, there is as you say, there is houses on the market there that has mica in them, and they're reduced. They're reduced, but they're still 100 and something thousand euros. That should only be the amount of the site. That is all that house is worth.
Site value, yeah. And fixture and fitness or something, if you wanted to try and salvage them, who's going to do that? It is crazy what's going on out there, Yvonne. Well, listen, we've thrown it out to the public now. We'll see if we get any feedback. I hope your search is a successful one. You've been through enough, like thousands of others around this county, and it'd be lovely if you were able to get a secure, mica-free roof over your head, Yvonne. I hope that happens for you and your partner.
Thanks, Greg.
All right, thank you so much for helping us raise that issue. A caller says, my brother sold his house in June and there was no test done. I would not buy a breeze block house that wasn't tested. Another caller says, it's very simple for the seller. All they have to do is say sold as seen, end of story. But but that means there are people who will, and as I say, if there's multiple people interested in the property, do they all get samples? I don't know. All right, we'll come back to that, actually, because it's an interesting one which has come up on the show before, but not too much. Now, tomorrow morning from 9, we have a Friday panel assembled for you. Looking forward to that. We're going to discuss any stories that break overnight or any of the big stories of the week. You can always suggest what we talk about by contacting the show. That's entertainment between 11 and 12. And by the way, we've done some research and we can tell you that our own programme, it's terrible, isn't it? Our own programme is broadcast Monday to Thursday at midnight. It's repeated, and on Friday it's 1 a.m. All right, thanks so much for listening. Thanks so much for taking part. Have a lovely day. Stay tuned for